You're not heard.
No sound. Didn't hear.
How about the sound now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, great, great. There is nothing unfixable. Sorry about that. That's just some.
Again, disappeared the voice.
Something wrong again.
How about now? Fixed really soon.
As we didn't expect so many people to join our conference. So our Zoom account, well, as usual, allows only 10 participants. And we are now fixing this problem, but I send a link in the chat. YouTube Live is now on. That's why we would like, if any of your friends can't join the conference, they can watch us on YouTube live. And I think that we will ask a few of our friends just to leave the room so that our next partner could enter, yeah?
I just wanted to say that I'm back on, so sorry,
Okay,
I don't know what happened there.
Okay, anyway, so this is the link for our YouTube live. So you can, if you are not in Zoom, you can watch it there. Okay, Anne.
All right, thank you, Yelena. And let's pass on the YouTube live stream to our friends. Ashley, I'm sorry I dealt with one question on your behalf.
Thank you.
And I'm not sure if we have any really urgent questions. Most of the questions asked you to share the slides and share the tips, but we got our hands on that.
Yeah, you have everything.
And everything will be shared with you shortly. We'd like to stay on schedule. So if you guys don't mind, we'll move on to our next speaker. And if the handout doesn't answer any of the questions you had for Ashley, do not hesitate to contact her on social media. She will kindly reply to all of the messages you might possibly have whenever it's proper Canadian time to do so. Because right now it's like really late. So how about we all give Ashley a round of silent applause? Yeah? And wish her a good night. You could all kiss her a good night. There you go. There you go. I'm sure Ashley has never been kissed by so many Central Asians before. And that is amazing that we are able to do that in this day and age. And we are ready for the next speaker, if you guys don't mind. Okay, are you ready? Turn your camera on if you're ready for the next speaker. And our next speaker is a friend from Greece, Catherine Riley. She is a blogger, comic writer, TED speaker, and all of those things. She writes for ELT magazines. She writes scripts. She posts on social media. She runs more than one blog. She's all of those things, and she's here today to share some wonderful advice with us on how to avoid burnout, which is a very up-to-date issue. Catherine, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you so much, Anna, for the wonderful welcome. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to say hello to everyone who is, attending. I'm a fan of Trendy English. I love this crowd. I love this audience. And we're going to have a great time together. Now, before I start, I have to point out that I've done a lot of trainings in my life. This particular training has to do with all educators, not only ELT. And I hope you're going to find this very useful, especially during these really troubled times that we're going through during the pandemic, because a lot of people have suffered, from burnout, and most of us don't even realize it. So without further ado, allow me to share my presentation with you. Just give me a second here, and okay. All right. So I hope you can see it. Can you?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So let's begin. Just give me a second here. Fix everything. Okay. All right, everyone. Now, when we're talking about teacher burnout, a lot of people don't even realize that they've, actually, experienced burnout. And that is something that we have to deal with, immediately. First of all, we're going to delve into, the causes and the prevention methods that have to be taken in order to face this, ordeal. First of all, we have to start examining the stats. Okay, what do the researchers say? Well, are you aware of the fact that burnout is prevalent among 1 in 4 teachers? This is, incredible. 25% of teachers around the world are suffering from burnout. Now, if you're wondering how long the recovery time takes, it might be a month, it might be more, maybe even a whole year. And, a lot of us have suffered a kind of form of burnout. But I think the worst fact of all that researchers have discovered is that some never recover and switch occupation. Yes, they quit teaching. Now, if you're wondering how many teachers quit per year, this is what will blow your minds. 500,000 teachers quit every year. Can you realize what we're talking about? 500,000 teachers per year quit because they've suffered from burnout. So this is a very serious issue, and we're going to talk about ways of avoiding it and, curing it, to say the least. Okay, so you might be wondering, how do I know if I'm ever, even suffering from teacher burnout? Well, let's examine a few symptoms. And if you think that you've been through this, it means that you are suffering from burnout. First of all, have you ever caught yourself performing badly in class, a poor performance? Okay, exhaustion. And I'm not only talking about mental, physical, any kind of exhaustion. Do you drag yourself when you enter a classroom? What about the feelings that you're going through? Cynicism, pessimism, withdrawal. Do you just want to hide yourself under a rock and have, to avoid your students? Well, I'm sorry to say that if you're feeling these things, then you are suffering from teacher burnout. Okay, so what are the repercussions of burnout? First of all, it's the reaction to it. Now, all of us have these feelings of guilt because we all want to do our best in class. We want to impress our kids. We want to do our job correctly. So we feel guilty, when we are confronted by our students, our colleagues. But I think the worst of all is how we feel ourselves. And in most cases, yes, we panic because if we have to, skip classes, if we are, obliged to stay home because we can't take the heat, yes, we panic. Our social image, our personal goals, and of course, the worst of all, the fear of being fired. Can you imagine what would happen if we don't go to work because we feel horrible, but on the other hand, we think that our employer will fire us? So all of these feelings of incompetence, self-degradation, it's a blow to our self-esteem. Now, I think that the worst mistake that all of us are making is that we say that we'll be strong, we'll get through this. So what do? We actually pray, we tell ourselves we can do this, we're strong teachers, we're experienced. Believe me, it does not have to do with experience and being strong. We are actually making things worse. So can we ignore burnout and keep on working? Absolutely not. We were going to make things much worse. Okay, so let's say that we continue working. There are even further repercussions that we have to, consider. First of all, psychologists call this a panic reaction. We are panicking, and our reaction is to keep on working, which is bad for all of us. First of all, we are inefficient in our jobs. We're not doing, our jobs correctly. Delays. I have suffered from burnout myself. And I remember at some point, instead of, delivering my students' homework every week, I actually bumped it up to 2-3 weeks. I found myself, falling behind. Mistakes. There are many forms of mistakes that, we can make in class. One mistake that I made, I used to confuse my students' names, which is horrible because I really love my kids. Mental health is deteriorating. And of course, all of these consequences put together for students and colleagues, because when we start making mistakes, things will start popping up here and there. So it's not a good thing, to fall into this panic reaction. Okay, let's take a huge breath because everyone is actually, stressing right now. Let's take a step back, relax. How did we get here? How did this all happen? Okay, so first of all, let's think, how does burnout occur? Is it just one reason or is it a multitude of reasons? I'm sorry. Okay, so there are usually many reasons. First of all, it's the student's behavior. Yes, in many cases, and I'm not talking about being, an incompetent student. I'm talking about students that are undisciplined. And we have to put up with this because we're teachers. And, there are many kids that, are never, paying attention to us. They're undisciplined or disrupt, the class flow. Parents' behavior. Yes, I think this is even worse than the student's behavior. And I know that most of you are going to agree with me. Allow me to share a picture with you. Okay, I'm not saying that, parents should be our allies. Okay, we're not trying to, make our students feel bad. However, let's make a comparison with what used to be going on, decades ago. When a student was undisciplined or when he didn't study, parents would, genuinely listen to us. And, all together as a team, we would try to help the student. Today, though, I don't know, because of social media, perhaps, because of the way society has structured, because of the fact that people are more aggressive in society today than they used to be. They have a tendency to lash out to everyone they see. Parents are not our allies anymore. Okay, this is not, the rule, but in most cases, they will, support their kid, no matter how undisciplined this is. This, of course, exacts a lot of pressure on us. It's difficult to do our job when we're being attacked, from all ends. So let's come back here. Lack of support from senior management. Now, don't get me wrong. Our employers are doing our best to pay us. Okay, it's a huge responsibility. Students are going through schools are going through really difficult times because, it's the financial crisis and they are trying to do their best to have the schools running. However, in many cases, they will accept this undisciplined behavior by the students. And, when we talk to the senior management, the school principal, in many cases, he'll just brush it off or say, okay, just try to do your best, keep things under control. But this is even more pressure on our shoulders. Constant observation. What do I mean by this? I know of many schools that have cameras placed inside. And of course, this is to observe our progress. Yes, I'm in favor of it, but, not 24 hours a day. And this, of course, will create many problems because it's even adding to more mental stress, not only to us, but to our students as well. And of course, afterwards comes scrutiny, evaluation. And you know what? No one can get a 5 out of 5 stars. No one is 100%. So when they actually point out a few of our flaws, we will feel really bad about this. And we are getting there, to the burnout. Okay, so this this presentation is really, stressful. So let's start talking about ways to prevent burnout and how to remedy it. You have to set boundaries. Now, I know what you're going to say. What kind of boundaries? We're working so many hours. It's a teacher's job. I mean, we have to work. I know. I agree with you. That's what I do. First of all, and before you bombard me, leave schoolwork at school. What do I mean by this? All of us have the tendency to bring our tests home, our essays home. If you can actually dedicate only a few hours, just a few hours to correct things at school, it would be much better. Can you stay half an hour after lesson, 1 hour after lesson to correct some things? I'm not saying every day of the week, maybe 2-3 times of the week. Your personal life mustn't intertwine with your profession. If you can actually leave, things at school and not bring them home as much as possible, you will feel rejuvenated. Okay, because mentally, our mind will connect our house, our home, our personal lives to work. And that's a huge mistake because your families and loved ones will also be affected. I know many cases of my colleagues who have kids. Their kids, usually say, "Can we please play, mommy?" And we're like, "No, I have to correct this homework, sweetheart." This really affects our kids. Try not, to intertwine things, and try to set a specific time frame. Can you dedicate 3 hours a week to stay after school, at school, to correct things? And when you go home, you will actually feel better, because home is the place where we have to relax and rest. It's a tranquil environment and the best remedy. We want to do our hobbies. We want to rest. We want to watch Netflix or anything we desire to do. Okay. Now, a second method of preventing burnout is to focus on your achievements. Now, ask yourself, what have I achieved? I know this sounds corny. I would like all of you to close your eyes and think to yourselves, what have I achieved? I am a teacher. I am passing on knowledge to the next generation. My job is really hard. I should be proud of myself. Okay, so the importance of our occupation and the legacy we leave behind is of the utmost importance. Do you realize how important our job is? I think that our job is probably the most important in the world. We should be proud of what we're going through, okay? It's really hard. And yes, you might ask me, what do we gain in return? Sometimes our kids might hug us. Some other times they might just, run away. But even if you get that little smile from someone, you know that they appreciate it. And even if they don't show it at this young, tender age, when they become adults, they'll remember, I liked Miss Catherine. She taught me a few things. And, I think that's the most important thing, to leave a legacy. And don't forget what you have offered others. Be proud of yourselves, okay? Our job isn't easy. We are heroes, okay? Literally superheroes. Okay, now. Okay, invest in personal time. Now, do you have any hobbies like dancing or painting? What about family activities? Do you play board games? There's so many things that you can do when you're at home. Friends, please go out with your friends at least once a week. Have a coffee. Do something. One of the best things about going out with friends is to exchange information. Okay, so you let out all your frustrations. You tell them everything that went bad at work, okay? And then in turn, they'll do the same thing. This exchange, you let out all the stress, and it helps you, relax and, feel more at ease. Even if you don't have friends, please go out for a walk at the park, anything. And one more thing, please, during the pandemic, avoid further interactions with devices. We're using Zoom all day, electronic devices. When you go home, just leave things, at the side, okay? Just don't touch your phone. You'll see that you'll feel much more at ease if you don't use technology. Now, staying healthy. I love this part. Can you exercise at least 10 minutes a day? Yes, 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference. Do you have a yoga mat? Anything, just try to exercise, okay? Now, eating healthy. This is another thing that we should focus on. I used to never bring anything with me to work, not even a sandwich, not even water, which was a huge mistake. When I started bringing just a sandwich or anything, the moment I ate it during break, I felt rejuvenated and more energy was going through me. And eating, okay, not overeating, but eating just a little can prevent stress, okay? And stress leads to burnout. We want to avoid this. Now, I want everyone to pay attention to what I'm showing you right now. Drink water. Okay, I'm using capital letters. Drinking water is so important. Now, I want to ask you a question. Let's say that you're looking at this picture right now. Okay, we have the lady drinking water. Do you feel thirsty? If you do feel thirsty, then that means that you are dehydrated, which means that you have to drink water right now. Please go drink some water. Okay, I'm not going anywhere. All right, it's very important to drink water. And something that I've learned, if you drink even a few sips of water during your lesson, okay, you can't imagine what the world of difference it will make, okay? If you're feeling stressed, if they're not listening to you, if they're going crazy, drink some water. You will be surprised how much this will help and reduce your stress. Okay, sleep. Okay, we understand this. Now, a Japanese research has investigated this issue and pointed out that if you have a bath before going to sleep, or even a foot bath, you'll be sleeping 40 minutes extra than usual and you'll feel more relaxed. This is an actual research. And that's why, the Japanese have a bath before going to bed. Western cultures, we don't do this, which is a huge mistake. We have to relax before going to bed. Sleeping regularly. Of course, you have to sleep regularly. Try to go to bed at the same time each night and wake up at the same time each morning. We are machines, okay? I mean, our bodies are like machines. We have to regulate it. Have some tea, preferably green tea before going to bed. Avoid social media. Just get rid of that phone, okay? Don't have it in the bedroom. And of course, these tips will help against stress, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, even heart issues. Yes, it sounds incredible. It's true. And I know what you're going to say, Catherine. I mean, there's so many technical issues. I prepared the perfect lesson yesterday, and I wanted to do something fantastic with my kids, but there was no internet connection, or, something went wrong with my Zoom, and all of these crazy matters. And I'm going to ask you something, because I'm so happy this happened earlier, because we actually maxed out here on Zoom, and, you have to make compromises. You have to accept the fact that some things are beyond our control. What we have achieved, right now that we are connecting through this platform, and being in contact is a miracle in itself, okay? Of course, there are going to be some issues. Nothing is perfect, all right? Accept it. Now, you might also tell me that, yes, we're eating healthily, we're trying to sleep, yes, we're following your advice, but it's too much. Well, it's not a bad thing to seek help from a specialist. I mean, psychologists, that's their jobs to help us. Okay, psychological support should not be disregarded. And in no cases am I implying that we're crazy. No, we're not crazy. We're human beings. We need help. A psychologist will help you consider if your concerns are valid. Okay, am I right to be stressed? What's wrong? Can you help me? And psychologists will help you set things into perspective. Trust me. This will help you a lot. Supporting each other at a job, any kind of job, I'm not only talking about ELT, is a matter of debate. There are some jobs in which, we get along well with our colleagues, some others we don't. But if you do have some people that you look up to that are friends at work, is it too personal to ask someone if he is not feeling well? Because, if you see him dragging, not sociable, tired, exhausted, he might be suffering from burnout. You can ask him, are you all right? Just one simple question can make the world of difference to the person you're asking. And you know what? It will lift his spirits. Can I help you in any way? Of course, there are some questions which are inappropriate. For example, I remember one of my colleagues, he was away for almost a month. We didn't know at the time, but he was suffering from burnout. And I remember one of my colleagues had the audacity to ask him, where were you? Which is a horrible question to ask. We don't ask these questions. We have to respect, what everyone is going through and not reprimand them. Now, as I just said, support him. Do not pity him. All of us can go through this. If we are in a good, relationship with him, help with corrections, reschedule. We're all a part of a team. Substitutions, it's really useful, to be a part of a team and help each other. That's the most important quality of being a part of a huge team. Now, the last thing I'm going to say, because yes, I might be working in a toxic environment. I understand how difficult the job market is. However, one of my colleagues once asked me, how much can you mentally handle? And I remember her telling me, I can handle it. And I'm like, sweetheart, you are not obliged to handle anything. You're just doing your job. You're not forced to handle something mentally. I'm not saying quit your jobs, of course not, because we have to survive, okay? However, on the side, try to do some job hunting. Do it for yourselves. Respect yourself, okay? And of course, the most important of all, if you can switch environments and go to a better one, do it, please, okay? Because we only live once. And you know what? Just remember, everyone, you don't have to prove anything to anyone but yourself. Okay, don't overdo it. Just love your jobs. Please take care of yourselves. Eat healthy, drink water, and above all, be proud. Okay. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure speaking for you once again. All right. If anyone wants to contact me, here's my contact info. and I wish you a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Your sound, Anna, your sound, we can't hear you. Mhm. Quick fix. Yeah. Mhm. Thank you very much, Catherine, for your inspirational presentation. And I'm sure I'm going when I say, oh, exactly. Yeah, let's give Catherine our our silent round of applause. Come on, remember, she just called you superheroes. She said our job is the most important job in the world. Isn't that what every teacher would like to hear? Thank you so much. It's been so inspirational, Catherine. I see in the chat that we don't have any immediate questions, but mostly positive comments, and people were clapping and sending reactions all the way through a talk, demonstrating how much they appreciate everything you're calling us. And I just brought some water to drink and following your advice. And there you go. Maybe we can cheers to water. That's the beauty
Cheers,
of having
everyone.
cameras on. Thank you, Catherine, for being with us this early morning in Greece. We could hear actually the trash being taken out early in the morning during your speech, which is amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't notice it actually.
Because you were wearing headphones and we could hear it, which just another indication of how early it is in Greece. And many thanks for being with us today. All right, let's send our best regards to Catherine before our next short break. We are back on schedule, and earlier in the chat there was an interesting message. You were invited to join a game. So if we could have this message again, because that's what's next on our agenda, please click the link and join the Kahoot game. Please do not be afraid or nervous. If you can't join for any reason, you could still use the chat to send the replies. And this will be your chance to win some of the first prizes. Yelena, the floor is yours. Yelena, we can't hear you. Could you please adjust the sound?
Is it better now? Can you hear me now? Amazing. Okay, so my name is Yelena, and I'm a teacher from Lingograd Language Academy. So I would like to invite you to a short game that I prepared for you to check how good are you with online teaching, and if you are ready to teach online like a pro. So please join the link in the chat to join our Kahoot game. You can go do it on the website or on the app if you want to use your phone. We already have some participants. I will also share the screen so everybody can see what goes on. We already got some people joining. Let's take half a minute to get everybody on board. And while we are waiting for people to join, let me remind you what is the prize that you'll be competing for. We will present you with a set of a course book on teaching IELTS. It's a course book by Anna Tenkich, our Director of Studies. And the second thing in the set is our unique, I think I already should use this word as unique IELTS notebook. It's a notepad with all the most effective and working, tested out IELTS tips with all the tables and Lexis sets and different kind of tips that you can use personally while preparing for the exam, or you can share it with your students We've tested it out on many of our students, and they find it extremely helpful during the exam preparation. So we will have actually 3 winners, so that's quite a good chance to get a nice prize. Okay, I see more and more people are joining. Great. If you cannot join for any reason, you can still send your replies to the chat box. Okay, and we've got almost 30 people there. So we will start just in a few seconds at the last chance to join. Yes, you can find the pin code in the chat, or you can see it on the screen. Wow, so many people in here. So if for some reason you cannot join, or if you get disconnected, sometimes that actually happens during the game, don't worry, you can reconnect, or you can just continue sending your replies in the chat box. We monitor it all, so no worries about that. I believe most people are here, so we are all ready to start. So get ready. You'll see the question and the responses on your screens too. So if it's more convenient for you, you can just look at your phones or at your screens. Okay, so let's start. There will be 5 questions. First, to choose Developer tab is a feature of which app? Gmail, Microsoft Word, Kahoot, or Google Chrome? Okay, and only 3 people got it correct actually. Developer tab is a feature of Microsoft Word. Okay, we already got. Okay, the second one, what is screencasting? Is it sharing your screen, recording, fixing, or describing your screen? Okay, let's see. Oh, most people got it right this time. Screencasting is actually recording your screen using special tools or some inbuilt functions of your device. Okay, a few new. Okay. And here I have only 2 options, true or false. Google Docs have various add-ons. You only need to say, do they or they do not? Okay, well, the majority was correct on this one. Google Docs have various add-on that can be used for different functions. Okay, a couple more questions. What is the name of objects from real life that you use in classroom to teach a concept? Like if you demonstrate to a camera and say coffee cup, what would be the name of this object? Is it models, props, realia, or tools? Okay, half of the participants were right. The name of such object that you use for teaching when they are not specifically made for the class are called realia. Okay, and the last question. Oh, we have new leaders. So I'll get with the last question. Which tool or tools can you use to make your students vote for something? Would you use Slido, Zoom polls, whiteboard, or Google Quiz? There can be few answers. Mhm. I see people choosing different options, but the trick is all of those can be used for voting. So if you marked all 4 answers, you got it all correctly. Okay, let's find out who the winners are. So we congratulate Olga, Svetlana, and let's see who's got the most points. And Vivi, we have no idea who could that be. So please let us know if this were you. You can send a screenshot to us or anything that can be proof of your participation. And congratulations with the victory. And we'll be in contact with you to get you all the information about the prizes. Okay, and if you didn't get some of the question, if you answered wrong, don't worry and don't get upset. We can help you with that with our special course, Savvy Teaching. We will send all the information out for you. So that will be something that can help you to make your online teaching way more effective and modern. Okay, so thanks for everybody for participation.
Great, thank you so much. Can you hear me now? Am I on? All right, the winners, congrats. Silent round of applause to you. Please do contact us or Yelena in the chat or by any other means. You will get your prizes shortly. And for the sake of staying on schedule, I will not delve on that any longer and introduce you to our next speaker. And our next speaker is, who is our next speaker? And our next speaker is Yelena Peresada. Here she is, the Trendy English Games founder and developer. She will be I'm sure you know enough about Yelena. Yelena will be sharing with us some tips on how to integrate games into our everyday lessons. And I'm sure that's going to be an invaluable piece of advice from a ELT game developer. So welcome, Yelena. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for introduction. Okay, yeah, thank you for your applause. And so as our life is a game, and I think everybody likes playing games, and I think this is the thing which releases stress in our life. So that's why it's so important to talk about games and maybe to use games in our lessons. And I'd like to remind you that as a part of this today's event, Trendy English is giving out one ticket for Trendy English 10 conference in November. And to do this, you need just to write something about today's conference and mark us in Instagram. And the link to our Instagram account is in the chat. Okay, and now we are ready to talk about games. And of course, my first question will be, if you play games in your lessons, can you write in the chat yes or no? Do you play games with your students? No. Okay, no matter how big your students are, young learners, teens, and yeah, everybody plays games. Yeah, this is what people like, especially these days. Okay, today my topic is the title of my topic is how to implement the game into your lesson correctly. Okay, yeah, I can see comments in the chat that some people play every lesson, some people only sometimes. Okay, but yes, if you have a look at this slide, you will see screenshots with 1, 2, 3, 4 games. They are all different. And they have got different game mechanics. And actually, they can be used at different lesson stages: presentation, practice, production, testing, revision. Okay, let's have a look at these pictures. And can you write in the chat, for example, when would you use this one in the middle, in the center? Anything like flashcard games or any interactive activities from Word Wall. At what lesson stage would you use them? Okay, so the one in the center. Okay, any ideas in the chat? So where will you use at the beginning for revision? Or maybe even in the middle of the lesson. Zoom to check the understanding. Okay, warm up in the middle. Okay, different ideas. To practice. Okay, thank you for your answers. Now let's have a look at 2 games on the, to consolidate. Okay, thank you. 2 games on the right. You can see this one, typical board game where you have to move your counter, roll the dice and move your counter and do some tasks, and Kahoot. So what about these 2 games on the left? Where would you use them? At what lesson stage? Okay. Somebody is trying to draw on our Okay, to test, check and test. Wow, great. And the one on the right, battleships. So what about battleships? Where will you use them? When will you use them? To test too. Kahoot for practice, to practice grammar. Okay, so thank you for your active participation. And most of your answers were quite right. So the games which don't have any game goal, the games which are purely interactive activities, such as different flashcard games, spinning wheels, or anything like this, they are usually used only at the beginning of the lesson for presentation stage, and they are called, as they involve so-called easy fun. So there is no game purpose, there is no game aim. So the main purpose is just to make the activity a little bit brighter and less dull than usually in the course book. If you have a look at these 2 games, Kahoot and this board game with the counter and dice, well, actually, what you have to do in this kind of game, you have to give the correct answer. And if you don't know the correct answer, there is no chance that you can win the game. That's why, so this kind of games are good for testing purposes. So when you have, well, this is like a good way to conduct a test in a more pleasant way for your students. But if we have a look at this game, Battleship, well, actually, this is the only activity which can really be called a game. Because what is a game? A game is a series of meaningful decisions, and what makes the game so interesting for our students. So they are not motivated to play the game to give the correct answers, but they are motivated to win the game. But they can't play this game without giving correct answers, or without producing some language. And so Battleship and games like this are very good for practice stage, because at this stage, so we have to drill some grammar constructions, and drilling actually is very boring. That's why, so we have to use at practice stage real games, not just easy fun games and not test-like games. So I want to share with you this table which we created in Trend English just maybe a couple of years ago, just to summarize all our research on games. So every teacher has got some challenges at every lesson stage. And so what is our biggest challenge as a teacher at presentation stage? It is very hard for our students to memorize new language. And that's why such kind of games as flashcard games, bingo games, something Very, very easy, very simple. It's very good for this stage. As students' mind is preoccupied with memorization of new language structures, and so that's why only easy fun games are okay at this stage. But when we move to practice stage, and when our students have to repeat one and the same phrase again and again, it is very boring just to repeat it, and easy fun games won't help you at this stage. So you need a good game with a good game goal, just to make sure that your students are not bored, but they do what you need to do. So they repeat one and the same phrase again and again. And the last stage, it is production stage. And what is the problem for us? What is the difficulty which we face as teachers? If we work in monolingual class, it is very difficult to create authentic output, to create an authentic communicative situation. And maybe a good communicative game is the only way to do it. So we can't go outside and to talk to people in English outside our classroom, but we can play a game. Okay, I want to show you a couple of videos which will demonstrate how students react to traditional teaching and to gamified teaching. So in the first video, you will see how I introduce the structure, how I practice with the structure. What does he look like? What does she look like? And just have a look at the way my students react to this like dull activity.
Вика, how look like Oscar?
Стоп, почему how? Смотрим на доску.
Стоп, нет.
Вика, вот.
Вика, what does look like Oscar?
На доску внимательно смотри.
What does he look like?
What does Oscar look like?
Okay, you see, so the student is completely unmotivated. Just to repeat the phrase after the teacher, it is very boring. And he doesn't pay any attention to my mistakes correction. But if I turn this activity into a game, and in the next video, you're going to see a short video where my students play a game based on set collection. The goal of the game for my students is just to collect 4 cards with the same name on these cards. So, and they have to work out the strategies. They have to understand who in the classroom has got the cards which they need. Okay, let's have a look at this video. Let's watch this video.
Vika, what does Nick look like?
I don't know. И кнопочка значит нажать. Сейчас. Илья. What does Lucy look like?
I don't know. Какой Алекс? Стоп, нет, подождите, Google. Уйди, Google. Нет. Все. Так, в общем. Oscar, what does Bill look like?
Bill has got blonde hair.
Нажимай. Только одну? Блин, зачем я это сказала?
Oscar, what does Bill look like?
Yeah, he's fat.
Давай. Да, full set. Так, в общем, Oscar, what does Nick look like?
So you see the same student and an absolutely different reaction. He is highly involved in what he's doing. And you see, so this is the difference between a game which tests you and a game which teaches you. When you play Kahoot, you don't teach your students anything. As in Kahoot, students, they need just to come up with the correct answers. And if I'm a weak student and I don't know the correct answer, I have no chance to win this game. If I am a bright student and I know all the correct answers, there is no challenge for me in this game. The game gets boring for me, as I give correct answers all the time. That's why Kahoot can't be used to practice new language. Kahoot can be used only to test new language. But this kind of game, like battleships or set collection games, where students have to repeat one and the same phrase again and again, and they are not penalized for mistakes. So these are the types of the games which really teach our students. And if we get back to presentation stage, and if we think about some easy fun games, so the problem with these games is that sometimes teachers use them also at practice stage or at production stage, and they demotivate students more than motivate. I'd like to tell you one story. Once I talked to a trainee from my How to Play Games course. So in Trendy English Games, we have an online course, how to, it is called Academy of Game Educate. And so for 4 months, we teach teachers how to use games correctly, how to play games correctly, which games to play at which stage, how to transform games to different teaching purposes. Okay, but well, one of my trainees, she said that she tried the game, which is called Clever Parrots, with her students, and they didn't like it at all. And then I started asking her questions to get some more information about the way she played. So she had a group of adult students. They were beginners, and the topic of their lesson was fruit and vegetables. They have already studied all these words, and they even did some production stage activities. And then she brings them the game, which is called Clever Parrots. What you need to do in this game, you need to show cards to your students and say the word in the card. And sometimes you don't say what is in the card, you say something different. In the card there is a banana, but you say an apple. And students, they need to repeat only correct matches. Only if the word which you say and the word which is on the card, only when they match, only then they repeat this word. And students couldn't understand why they were doing this activity, as they had already learned these words by that time, and they didn't see any sense in doing this activity. So that's why it is so important to look at the, to have a very careful look at the game before bringing it to the classroom. Just like with the video, you don't bring the video to your class just to show it. You've got some teaching purposes, you know, okay, this video I need for presentation stage, or this one, well, with this video I'm going to do this or that. The same thing with the game. You can't just bring the game just to play the game and just to practice some language. Different games, they well, actually practice should be used at different lesson stages. I'd like to share one, I think I've still got some time, and I'd like to share one more game, which is also very good for practice stage. And I'm sure that you are familiar with this game. It is called Spy, and it belongs to this mafia type of games. When some people have got the information and some people don't have the information. So let's imagine that well, actually, how we play this game. Let's imagine that our topic is there is, there are, and you want your students to produce sentences with this construction. The goal of the game is to find a spy. Each student in the group, they get a piece of paper, or if you work online, a private message in Zoom with the name of the place, for example, London, London, London. And one player gets a card with the word spy. Then we start asking questions. So the idea is that the sprite doesn't know what we are talking about, and the sprite has to try to guess what place exactly we are talking about without giving himself out. And those who are not sprites, so we have to be very careful and to give out information in a very in a way so that the spy couldn't understand what we are talking about. For example, the first first player can ask someone in the, are there any trees in this place? So a very vague question. So the spy can't understand what we are talking about. But if you ask something, is there a tower with big clock in this place, it will be clear that we are talking about London, and we should avoid these kind of questions. So if you want to play this game and to see how it feels, and if you want to try some other games, so I invite you to our ALT Cafe just after the conference, yeah, and we are going to play not only team building games and warming up, and we are not going to do only warming up activities, but also we are going to play Spy and some other games made by Trendy English. Okay, so thanks for sharing some information in the chat. Thank you, Elena. And so in Trendy English Games, we produce card games. So you can buy a card, a box of cards to play a game to practice. So mainly we produce games to practice, to drill grammar. Or if you work online, all our games are available on platform Znania, and after my talk there will be a short video about this platform where you can not only play games but also to create lessons and to set homework assignments for your students, well, which is like a great combination of different online tools. Okay, so please don't miss this opportunity to join ALT Cafe and to play some games with me. It is, you know, it's quite difficult to talk about games. It's better to play games to understand what they are. Okay, thank you. Actually, that's it. And this is what I was going to discuss with you today.
Many thanks, Helena, for your wonderful presentation, and it's amazing that it was amazing to hear the change of reaction of these young learners to the game, and I'm sure lots of people got inspired and they'd like to get such a reaction from their learners. That would be amazing. That would be amazing to do something like that, to hear something like that from our learners. And just as Yelena said, the digital versions of the Trendy English games are available on the Znania platform. Here we bring to your attention a very short clip on what this platform is and how it works.
All right, so just to repeat, the digital versions of the Trendy English games are available on Znania platform. The links are all given to you in the chat, so please do not hesitate to explore this platform. And if we don't have any quick questions for Yelena, then we will go on a short break, and during this break you will be able to get some really useful piece of advice from our next speaker. And our next speaker is the KAS-T, Kazakhstani Teachers of English Association's president, Tatiana Litaykina. Can you give a short round of applause to her? Thank you kindly for joining us on this sunny morning. And Tatiana will briefly talk to us about social media learning.
Thank you so much. Yes. And hopefully, well, you can hear me well and there is no sound breaks, well, because on behalf of the village project team and on behalf of KAS-T, we prefer, well, release the stress and burnout in the countryside. So, but yes, well, first of all, huge thanks to Trendy English and huge thanks to Elena for this really brilliant platform, and gamification is the next stage, well, for us to share with the village teachers, not only with rural, but with any teachers, and we are happy to share these opportunities and to teach, probably to practice, because, well, not every of teacher, well, is good at the use of this or that technology, but another type, well, what we are going to improve with both teachers and learners is social online interaction skills. So this is, well, the project that KAS-T is involved at the moment. And, well, what we need to improve, not just, well, cognitive and communicative skills, but social online interaction skills to involve our students into productive, into interaction, communication via online platforms and discussion forums, because, well, online platforms, web platforms give this opportunity to learn from internet and to learn from each other. So that's why if you have any experience, any ideas how to improve social skills and social interaction skills and to learn from each other, probably you will study some patterns which could be useful for our students to start to initiate, to support this or that talk. So you are very welcome to share with us. Well, KAS-T runs regularly this or that webinars or series of webinars. And so this is the next stage we are going to work at, and you are very welcome to contact me. And so with the experience of this webinar, you are welcome to have a look at the KAS-T website, at the section resources and KAS-T webinars. So you are very welcome to share your experience on behalf of KAS-T, well, during these very webinars. Thank you so much, and my best to every participant, and to gain the most of this very conference and to share your experiences with colleagues. Thank you so much.
Many thanks to Tatiana. Let's give her a very silent round of applause. Great, thank you, Tatiana. We will be sharing information on how you can join KAS-T Association and join the KAS-T emailing list, which constantly reminds you about the need to develop professionally and about the opportunities provided to develop professionally. You will get almost daily notifications on available webinars, seminars organized by KAS-T and the Village Project. We'll be sharing the contact information soon, so please remember to leave comments and follow the chat, because you will find lots of useful links and information about the extra information about the speakers and the resources mentioned here in the chat. We would also like to remind you to stay active in the social media. Please keep making posts and tagging both Trendy English and Linguagrad accounts to be selected for and to be given prizes from our sponsors. There are a lot more sponsors and a lot more motivating talks coming up. And at the moment, I don't see any emergency questions or issues. Seems like our moderators are doing a really good job dealing with the questions on the spot. And if you have no immediate questions to Tatiana Litaikina regarding Kasti, nope, no immediate questions. Amazing. Then we will be moving to our next speaker. So can we have the music?
Absolutely. Yes.
And our next speaker is Dilarum Mirsaliyeva, who is an owner and academic director of the GES Educational Hub in Kazakhstan. She's specialized in teaching teenagers and adults. Her passion is training in-service and pre-service EFL teachers. She is a Delta certified teacher trainer with 17 years of teaching and training experience. GES School is also a partner of today's event. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you and your team, Dilarum, one more time for all the kind support you've given us in organizing this event. And I'm really happy to welcome you here at Trendy Central Asia. The floor is yours, and let's give our warmest welcome to Dilarum. Ms. Dilarum.
Thank you for such a warm introduction. I'm just thinking, is it me or who she's introducing? How are you, colleagues? I'm seeing that we have around over 100 teachers here. I'm really happy and at the same time excited. Thank you for all of you being here. It's been it has been almost 2 hours, 2 hours presentation. So all of you still around. Okay, let me now start give me a second to start my presentation. Okay. Just a second. This is it's taking me a little bit time. Oh, finally. Okay, found my presentation. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon one more time to everybody. Almost it's afternoon, 3 minutes to afternoon. So as I've been already introduced, I am Dilarum. Today we'll be talking about students' autonomy and specifically using some authentic English. Even though it's an online conference, I'm a teacher who loves interaction. So I will be asking not a lot of frequent questions, and I want you to answer in chat box your answers. Okay, how would you describe autonomy? Can you just write down one word? Students' autonomy means just one word. You don't have to give me a whole definition. Students' autonomy is, thank you, Camila. Independent student. Thank you very much. So, and self-motivated, self-confident. Thank you very much. Have you ever heard of corpus? Or okay, can you send pluses into a chat box if you have ever heard of the word corpus, or we say corpora, plural? Thank you, Camila. Yelena, thank you. Gulnara, thank you. So I see some of you have you are already aware of corpus. So these ones can be really will be helpful during my presentations. But I see only around 10 out of 100 participants, around 5 or 6 of them send plus, saying that they're aware of them. So basically, mostly this presentation is focused on introducing you what corpora is and etc. So the content of my presentation. Wait a second. Before I move to the content, I want you to ask one more question. How many of you teach high level of students, so like maybe exam classes, IELTS, TOEFL, SAT? Would you also send pluses if you teach high levels? Thank you. Many of us teach high levels. I see. Okay. How many of you face this situation? Like when I see that most of participants are non-native speakers, non-native speaker teachers, and they are our students ask like, "Hey, teacher, do you think that these two words are good collocations?" Sometimes we have gut feeling. You say like, "Yes, they work. They come together, they fit to each other," but sometimes we are not sure. Have you ever faced this kind of the situation? Please, would you send pluses if you have ever been in this kind of situation? Yeah, thank you. So I see that, Gulnara, thank you, Svetlana. So most of non-native speaker teachers, we are not 100% sure whether the words collocate with each other or not. So content of my presentation, what is corpus? And as a language teachers, how can we use it? And as a learners, as we are also learners, C1, C2 learners, teachers, how can, what to get out of it? And basic instructions, how to get information from this corpora, and corpus-based activities to promote students' autonomy. Okay. What is corpus? Corpus is like, you see that I highlighted, capitalized the word natural collection of language. So the information comes from authentic English, could come from academic journals, from books, from recordings of audio, video, and all of them are compiled into a computer into one program. She said it's huge information. Just gather it and readily available to you. And you can find any word of English in a context. That's called concordance. Says that this is, very big resource for any language teacher. Before I move to the next slide, I would like to ask you this question. Could you think of 5 most frequent English verbs other than to be, have, and do? The most frequent English verbs. Please think of 5 of them and write into the chat box. Thank you. Get, make, think, give. Ooh, thank you. Say. Most of you are aware of this. Thank you. Take. Now, look at this information. The most frequent one, say, get, go, and know. And where do you think where can we find this information? Of course, corpus can help us to see how frequent words are. What did you notice about this? All verbs. What did you notice about all these verbs? Can you write into the chat box? What do they have in common? What do they have in common? Okay, they are short. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, maybe. Okay, thank you. Other than them to being short, what else? Say, get, go. Thank you. Someone said irregular verbs. Yeah, they are all irregular verbs. So, but as a teachers, when we start our, like, you know, we have beginner elementary levels. Do we start with irregular verbs? No, we try to push regular verbs. But once our students step out of our class, when they face into authentic English, they are highly likely to encounter irregular verbs. Okay. Thank you. So all this information about the frequency of verbs or any word can be found in corpus. Moving on to the next slide. Okay, as a language teachers, as a English language teachers, and of course as a learners, what can we get from corpora? Or corpora is, we can say corpus is a singular form and corpora is a plural form. As I already mentioned, the frequency of words, even phrases. The second one is my favorite. Frequently occurring words, collocations. As I asked you at the beginning of my presentation, how often you will start with an answer like, teacher, do these words collocate? And you say, maybe. So if you're not sure, go and make search on corpus. Typical collocations, typical grammatical structure. For example, here, notice somebody doing something. Yeah, we see that if you see them in the context. Semantic prosody means like a positive or negative association of the words. For example, the word cause. Some of our students just translate and start using this the word verb cause with any word, with any noun, but it has mostly negative connotation. Again, corpora can help us with this, like to see whether it has positive or negative. Next one, register of a word. Is this word formal, informal, academic, mostly spoken, or it's mostly used in, you know, internet world or in journals? So you can see all of this in corpus. And the last one is also my favorite one. Differences between close synonyms. Like our students like, oh, they are similar. So if they say they are the synonyms, can I just use this as the same meaning? And as a teacher, high level teachers who have high level of English, they would say yes and no, but you are really much not sure why. So again, corpus will help you here. Okay, how to use corpus. There are many types of corpus: British National Corpus, Cambridge University corpus, but today I'll be sharing on the one that I use myself in the class and which is user-friendly. It's COCA, called COCA. So the first step, just Google it, right? COCA, and it will pop up as a first search. And the second one, you will have a drink, soft drink, Coca-Cola. Don't click on that, click the first one. And you need to register for basic access. Well, what does it mean, basic access? So you can access, you can use it, you can have limited searches in a day. Probably like it was around 20 something. I'm not sure, but you can have you will have limited searches. But you can buy it. It costs a lot, but actually it costs around $300 or something. But I'm absolutely fine with the free version, and I'm satisfied with the free version. I'm sure that free version, you will be fine with the free version too. Okay, you register. After you register, you will have this kind of screen. See the screen where you can write a word, and there will be toolbars, list, chart, word, browse, and etc. So if you would like to see a word in a context, just write a word here, choose list. So these toolbars are very important. They are the key in your search. So if you just want to see in the context, write here the word, choose list, and cause could be a verb and noun. You choose what part of speech it is. Then you search. Once you search, you will have, see this one. You can see here, cause it's everywhere highlighted. This is how you see in the context. Then, next one, collocation search. This is my favorite one. I think it will be the most of your favorite one as well. So for collocations, you have to choose a collocate toolbar. You choose it, you write here. So there should be a keyword is cause here. Verb, yeah, we're searching for a verb. You choose here verb or noun and you need nouns. Can you imagine you can choose here also from the toolbar like adjectives, verbs, etc. Someone. Okay. Then you just find collocates. You can have this one. You see that it was the search for cause. It will give us the from most frequent to down to the infrequent ones. So here you can see the frequency rate. That is the most frequently used with cause here. 3,000 something, and then problem, etc. Okay, then the next one, collocations. How can you see the typical grammatical structure of any word? Again, you write a word here. And for this, you need to choose this button, keyword in context, keyword in context. And again, you have to make your choice. Are you searching for a verb or noun? Some words are just verbs, some words are just nouns. These are fine, you don't have to choose. But if you see, then you search it. Once you search, you will have this color-coded context. Voila, you can see that in the middle is cause, and you can see that would cause to, so it's mostly used with a lot with to, would, yeah, some modal verbs, so you can analyze piece of language here. And the next one, to see the register of a lexis of a word, whether this is a spoken, academic, or other sources of the word where the word mostly used in what context. For this, you have to choose the chart part. And again, cause you make a search and you will see, you will have this kind of chart. Here, as you can see that cause is frequently used in blogs, in web, in TV, media, in spoken language, in fiction, magazine, news, and academic language. So if you need to decide whether cause is academic or spoken English, you can just look at this two sections. You see that it's almost equal, like in spoken, but spoken it's a little bit higher, spoken part. So this is how you can see the word. And my favorite one, difference between close synonyms. How do you search for this? I have taken the word synonyms, close synonyms, trigger and initiate. For this, you choose compare part. See the compare, and trigger could be a noun and verb. So I want to see a verb. That's why I have chosen verb here. And I want also to see the other collocates that are frequently used with this word. And you just make a search. You see here numbers. These numbers can tell you, like you want to see the up to 4 words that used with these words before and after. And if you search, you will have this one. This is super useful for analysis if you're teaching like for high level of, like if, IELTS, if you teach IELTS, like frequently you see that miscollocated words, and you can ask the students to have a search on that. First word is trigger, the second word is initiate. So you see, trigger mostly collocates with the word memories, and word 1 is trigger 32, that's the frequency, and with the second word initiate 0. So you can never say initiate memories. Or let's see the program, yeah, for example, here program. Initiate program is fine, but you can never say trigger program. So etc. Students can clearly see, even there are synonyms, they are not used with some words. Okay, moving on to practical activities. There are many activities out there, but for this presentation, as it was 20 minutes, I have chosen the ones that are simple and basic, and that any teacher can take into their classroom. One thing, if you've never used COCA, going into this, like you seeing this can look very, daunting. Don't get scared. That was my first feeling, seeing so much information, to analysis. Just step by step, see how to use them, the information in it. And I'm going to send at the end of my presentation, I will send them Scott Thornby's 25 minutes video where he, very shortly briefly explains how to use it, and other books that are super useful for you. So activities that I use. Top collocates. Give students a word, for example, write on the board to boost and ask them to work in pairs. It's up to you to work in groups and write the 5 top collocates with this word. They write, then you ask them to switch their answers. Then you ask the pair of students or group of students go to COCA and check their peers' answers. But for this, of course, students need to have their device with them. Then the next one is revealing activity. Prepare a set of collocations, for example, legal fees, legal rights, legal system, and etc. Cut the first string of the collocation and start. Reveal the collocations one by one. Not the collocation, I mean only one part, fees, framework, proceedings, rights, and have them guess what the missing word is. Here, mostly teacher deals with the COCA. And the semantic prosody, connotations, ask students search for a word in collocation and ask them to analyze. Here, you see the analysis of cause, and cause is used with death, problems, damage. If you look through, mostly it's used with negative words. So students will understand that cause has a negative connotation. And hunt for the next one, hunt for difference. Prepare a pair of words that are commonly misused. For example, big versus large, finally versus lastly, and etc. Divide the students into groups. Assign each group one pair of words. Ask them to search on COCA the words and that mostly collocates with each pair and words that cannot be used together. Then they can present to each other. See that we're promoting autonomy and students seeing, analyzing the word themselves. It's promoting the autonomy. And the next one is, and this is just a screenshot how to use it. The books that are commonly, that are good for learning about corpus, using Corpora. This one, I have even the hard copy of this. I bought it when I was in TESOL 2019, 19. And this Cambridge book using Corpus. And now I'm sending into the chat box, just a second, I'll send at the end of the presentation, Scott Thornby's presentation. Short presentation. This has the references, and this. Let me send. Okay, I've just sent the link, and these are my contacts. If you wish to ask something about how to use COCA or other things. Any questions? I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dilarum, for your wonderful presentation on the use of corpora. And I particularly liked how you kept teaching us the plural of corpora, corpus and corpora. So at least, please raise your hands, audience, if you learned the plural of corpus today. And I will definitely raise mine. Okay.
Thank you.
So far, I see nothing but kind comments in the chat. If you have any questions to Ms. Dilarum, we will still have her on for a couple of minutes. So use your chance to ask or comment whether or not you're going to be using corpus-based activities in your classroom, because they sound like a very interesting and very innovative way of dealing with vocabulary in class. That's amazing. Thank you, Dilarum.
You're welcome.
I'd like to take this opportunity one more time to thank Dilarum and her team for the support of today's event. Also, I'd like to announce that GEAS recently founded, and it's a newly found teacher training center in Shymkent. Maybe Dilarum can tell us a few words about that. What are we to expect from this first Kazakhstani-based teacher training center, right?
Yeah, commercially based teacher.
Commercially based, sorry.
Yeah, there are a lot of free out there, but maybe there are some of them in Kazakhstan. But in Shymkent, we are the first that is for money, and we started very recently, to March, yeah, and like almost April. And we're gradually working with teachers. We're so happy, and this teacher training is my passion. And I am really happy seeing so many passionate teachers here. So we have some courses like Teach IELTS, yeah, teaching critical thinking, and etc. Other ones. If you are interested having any of these courses, taking any of these courses, somebody has just recently sent an information to a chat box, and there is a contact, Ms. Zulfiya's contact. You can call and clarify any information about the courses.
Wow,
Thank you.
Great. So if you're a teacher trainer, exam teacher who is looking for opportunities to upgrade his or her knowledge and training skills, this teacher training center in Shymkent is definitely a place to check out. Thank you, Dilarum, for your kind presentation.
Thank you.
And I'd like to move on to our next speaker, and I'd like to remind you all to keep your hands ready on the keyboard, because very soon a lot more prizes will be delivered to you. And next speech is by one of the partners of today's event. Our partners also study in. It's a educational holding, and they will be giving a very short presentation on teacher training opportunities. I'm glad to introduce you to the Director of Studies of Study In, Gulnar Ginayatovna. The floor is yours, please.
Hello, everybody. It's very nice. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Sorry, because sometimes I have these problems. Hello, everybody. It's really a great event, because we're so much, we're lacking this communication, lacking cooperation during this very unusual times. So we're given very short, actually it is not a presentation, it is an information regarding the opportunities of getting some independent assessment of your students, actually, not your students' language or proficient skills, your proficiency skills, because Study In being a school, at the same time we have 2 accredited Cambridge assessment centers and 1 sub-center in Almaty, Nur-Sultan, and Shymkent. I guess most of you here are really familiar with all type of Cambridge exams, which become really very popular in Kazakhstan, thanks to our big friend who is also participating in this conference, Anna Vsevolodovna Gorizontova. Many thanks to her, because it is because of her great work done in the maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And now these exams are very, and all these courses are very popular in Kazakhstan, and we have a lot of clients. So we may talk about language proficiency tests. We're talking about certified language proficiency exams, professional development exam, and professional development courses. I know that, I'm sure absolutely that most of you are familiar with Cambridge English Placement Test, which is which can help you to place the student on the level, to assess the level where he should start, or they actually should start their course. And I try to be very, very brief because we are really pressed of time, but you can get our presentation and learn more about all these exams. Then we have Lingua Skills also. We may say it is a very quick and convenient online test. And what I would like to pay your attention in this test, that you can test all 4 skills, or you can test some skills separately, reading, listening, writing, speaking. Why it is very convenient, because some of the institutions, I mean, maybe state or private, they have their own entry test or some kind of course leaving or school leaving exams. But these exams are usually, they test reading, listening, writing. As for speaking, LinguaSquill will be very, very convenient for them to do it, to add it to their exams. I guess most of you know about the school exams for kids, for young learners, for juniors, and for young adults, and also as well as for the teachers. And one of the main features of these exams are that we have separate exams for kids and for adults, yes. And as if we may say that CAT, PET, FCE, even Certificate of Advanced English, though they have the same language, testing the same language level, but the content is absolutely different, which really suits kids, teenagers, juniors. Also, we may say that these exams are certified, and you'll get certificate for this exam, which is valid all over the world. And this is how this exam is, I'm sorry, how you can cope this with the CFR level. Also, we have professional development exams. Yes, the one of the most popular exams in Kazakhstan just now is Teaching Knowledge Test. You know that it has 5 modules, 3 general modules, CLIL and TKT for young learners. It is a certified exam. You get your certificate, and it is very popular, especially just today we heard about the new professional center in Shymkent. TKT is very popular in Shymkent, maybe also thanks to Tatiana Litaykina, because she is working a lot with this, with the professional development of the teachers. At the same time, we have a course which also become very, I guess it become very popular in Kazakhstan. It is certificate in AMI skills. Though it was just, it was aimed for lecturers and tutors of the high school, but many teachers, subject teachers from the secondary school, they considered it very useful for them. And also we have a lot of teachers who are participating in this course. There are 2 more training courses like CELTA and Train the Trainer. I would like to tell some words about the CELTA course, because I don't know, it is not thanks to, maybe because of this very difficult situation which we are facing during these last 2 years, we were able to introduce a new course which is called Blended CELTA Online, which becomes very widely used in Kazakhstan. We have just, I guess, maybe 4 or 5 courses during the last year, because it is 100% online, and duration is from 10 to 16 weeks, and it is very convenient for the teachers who are working, who cannot afford themselves to stop their work for 4 or 5 weeks as an intensive CELTA. But it is also online intensive CELTA, but sometimes it is rather challenging for the teachers to stop their work and to find time. So we are really, all of you are really welcome to our center. We are ready to provide you all the necessary information, but in order to make it a bit more, make our presentation a bit more interesting, we're going to show you 2 prices we have now. There are 2 dictionaries. One is Pocket Dictionary, but the second one, I think I like it very much. This is a Dictionary of Common Errors. If you would answer some of the questions, we have only 5 questions, and 4. I'm sorry, 4. And those who will be the first, you will get these prices. Okay, what stands for these letters? I guess everybody know. Okay, which of the mentioned above exams is certified? Okay, rank the exams in accordance with CFR levels. And the last but one, it's a bit not so much academic. If you have me, you want to share me. If you share me, you haven't got me. What am I? Waiting for your answers, and then we will be very glad to present you with our dictionaries. Thank you.
Thank you, Gulnara Gineyatovna, for doing this and
try to be very, very brief
and study in for these wonderful prizes. So there's this riddle we have. If you have me, you want to share me. If you share me, you haven't got me. What am I? And there were a couple of questions on ranking the exams and what CEFR is. So please use the chat to send us your answers, and the winners will get these sets of dictionaries kindly provided by StudyIn. Thank you so much, StudyIn, for doing this. And I'd like to take this opportunity one more time to thank you and StudyIn team for supporting this event, for getting the word out and helping us to promote the event among English language teachers. Okay, please stop screen share. But do still use the chat to give your answers, even because some people just need more time to type in the answers. So do we'll remind you what the questions are in the chat. You have till the end of today's event to provide us with the correct answers, and StudyIn team will be monitoring the chat to select the winners. Thank you very much. And I will be I'm here very happy to present our next speaker, Kamila Beybitbayeva, who is the Oxford University Press rep and the head of ELT sales at Interpress Almaty.
Hey. Oh,
Our
I
silent
really
round.
enjoy. I like this sound. I love it.
All right,
Such a great
we're
idea.
glad to make you feel loved, and the floor is completely yours, Camilla. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you once again. Hello, everyone. I am really delighted to have this opportunity to take part in today's conference. To be honest, when I first found out that it was Saturday, I got quite reluctant, but now I am really enjoying this conference. Thank you, Anna. Thank you very much for inviting me. So yeah, the world of teaching and learning is constantly changing. So whether you teachers are working online or going back in a normal classroom, your well-being is the most important thing. So in my presentation today, we are going to discover teaching and learning support from Oxford University Press. So Interpress, we are exclusive distributors of this publisher, and we officially represent Oxford University Press in Kazakhstan. So today in my presentation, we are going to discover some great tools which can help make your lessons live, interactive, learner-centered, less formal maybe, and develop your learner study skills. There are lots of great digital tools for this, but before we get started, I would like to let you know that at the end of my presentation, we are going to have Q&A part, Q&A, question and answers part. So I've prepared 4 questions about the content of today's presentation, and the 4 teachers who reply quickly and give correct answers to those 4 questions are going to get a prize from Oxford University Press. So I highly encourage you to take part actively and to listen carefully. Okay, so we said there are lots of great digital tools. Let me now quickly share my presentation. Okay, can you see my presentation? I was experiencing some problems with internet, so it's better to make sure that everybody can see it. Can you?
We can see.
Okay.
Yes.
Great, great. So let's first find what we mean by effective digital teaching tool. So what are the features of an effective digital teaching tool? So please write your answers into the chat box. There's the first part of first bit of chat interaction in our presentation. So what are the features of a good digital teaching tool? User-friendly. Madina, thank you for your answer. Interactive. Students are involved. Okay. Easy to access. Good. Okay, thank you for your answers. Great. So yeah, they are quite similar to what I came up with. So a good and effective digital teaching tool, of course, should be easy to use, especially now in a period of complexity. There is power in simplicity, so they should be simple, and we want teachers to be concentrated, to be focused on the learning process, not fixing, not fixing and learning, discovering, complicated digital tools or applications. So, and of course, while teaching online, we are still interested in, we want our lessons to be interactive and engaging. So a good digital tool should enable us to provide such lessons. And the other thing which is very important is that a good tool, a good digital tool should save our time and should make our lesson preparation time, lesson planning time easy. So yeah, these are let's say, the main features of an effective digital teaching tool. Now we are going to watch a short video about OUP digital tools. So while watching, I want you to answer my question. So the question is, what digital tools from OUP are we going to explore today in this presentation? So now I'm going to share a video.
This diver is inside an underwater cave. Underwater cave.
Okay. Great. So let me check the chat box. So what was the question? Classroom. So yeah, the question was, what presentation tools are we going to explore today in this presentation today? So yeah, I can see your answers. The video. So what was the, so my question was, what was the video about? What presentation tool? The classroom presentation tool. Yeah, today we are going to focus on one tool. This is CPT, which stands for Classroom Presentation Tool. So we are going to look at some ways which can, which can make your some tools which can help you make your lessons interactive and engaging. So yeah, classroom presentation tool, CPT. So in order to, can you please let me know if you can see my slideshow?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, great, thank you. So in order to access CPT, you will need an account on Oxford Learners Bookshelf. The Oxford Learners Bookshelf is a platform. So let's say it's an electronic shelf for OUP digital products. Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to register. Registration is free. And once you register, you will get an Oxford ID. So it's better, it's a good idea to save all your details so it's easier for you to access next times. So once you registered, got your ID and sign in and activated classroom presentation tool, you will be able to see this tool on your electronic shelf. So also on this shelf, you can place e-books, electronic course books for Oxford University Press books, and you can also place readers' books. So today we are going to look, to maybe discuss CPT tool more in depth. Well, now I am going to ask you, to wear a hat of a learner. So you are going to be my students, and I'm going to be your teacher. Are you ready for this? Yeah. Okay. So can you see my Oxford Learners bookshelf?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So you are my students. I am your teacher. So you are now going to switch a role. So as a learner, I want you to have a look at the first page of a course book. I am using Oxford Discover. This is a primary course book from OUP. So guys, I'm going to show you small parts, some maybe fragments of one big picture. And I want you to look at these parts, and I want you to guess the title, the topic of the lesson. Okay, are you ready for this? So look and type your answers into the chat box, please. What is the topic of the lesson? Look at the pictures and guess. Okay, now let me have a look at the chat box. Wow, so many messages. Sport in our life, teamwork, sport in our life, teamwork, sport, healthy lifestyle, hobbies, basketball, inclusion. Yeah, okay, sport. Thank you very much for your answers. Thank you. Now let's go back to the initial size and see if you are right. So I'm going to zoom out, and the title of the lesson is How Do People Have Fun? Yeah, this is the topic of the lesson. So I like these kind of prediction games because, you know, it gets learners curious, especially if you can use these kind of tools. This is, I think, a great thing. This is a great activity to use in a classroom. So I used this zoom in and zoom out function of CPT. So this tool enables you to enlarge pictures or texts. So with the help of this tool, you can, you know, do this kind of activities. So you can make a size bigger, smaller, and you can be focused on some fragments of the lesson. So, okay, so we said that the title of the lesson is ways people have fun. Now I'm going to, again, please don't forget, you are still learners. I am your teacher. Now we're going to watch video. The video is about different ways people have fun. Please go to the chat box and have a look at the verbs which I have just sent to you. Can you see the verbs? Oops. For some reason, I'm sending this to Lindwag only. Now, can you see the verbs? Yeah. So please watch the video, and while watching the video, I want you to cross out the verbs which are not mentioned on the video, okay? And then you can send your answers to the chat box again. Okay. So I sent a list of verbs to the chat box, and the task is which verbs were not mentioned on the video. So cook, and there should be a second verb. Yeah, thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Aisel. Thank you, Aigul. Yes, one of the verbs which were not mentioned on the video is cook, and the second one is dance. Well, I think the dancing was there. Run, yeah, it was there. Throw was there. Walk, yeah, we had this on the video. So we didn't have two verbs, actions were not mentioned. It's cook and sing. So we saw people, walking and dancing, etc., but we did not see people cooking and singing. So it's really worth highlighting here that previously we had video and audio materials as separate components, and now with the help of CPT we can use all of these tools in one. So CPT enables you to use video materials, audio materials, and extra materials, answer keys, so everything here in one tool. So I've got some time left, and I'm going to show you the final thing. I mean, one of the, let's say, features of CPT. I'm going to go to the next page. So we said that, sorry, 1 second. I need to open again. So we said that we have all components in one in CPT, and we also have the main components. So for example, if you work with a group of students, you need to get students book, class book, and your students need to get workbook. And one big advantage of classroom presentation tool is that it enables you to to work with both books. I mean, with course book and with the students book. What you need to do is just you need to simply switch books. So as you can see, I have now switched on to the workbook. So if your students have got ebooks, they can type their answers here, and they can share screen. If not, you can simply share your screen and you can work with the whole class. So one of the great tools of CPT is that it helps you to be focused on certain stages of the lesson. So for example, I want to do point D as a whole class. I go to focus function, I click on this exercise, and I do the activity with the whole class, and I can show answers one by one or one at a time. So yeah, some of the features, some of the features of CPT, of course, when you use it on a daily basis, you will be able to find lots of great functions of CPT. And well, as I said, this tool helps present your learning resources on screen for highly engaged.
Oh, is it just me, or did we just lose the sound? Can everybody hear Camilla?
No.
Can people hear me?
No. Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Camila, for your great presentation. I don't know what happened there at the end, but what we can still fix. Camila, can we check your sound, please?
Can you hear me?
Because yes, we can hear you now, and here to the fun part, right?
Yes,
because Camila
yes,
has
fun
prepared
part.
also something for the teachers. Some presents coming, yeah?
Yeah, rewarding part. I said in the beginning that we have some questions. Can you see my demonstration? Something happened on my side. Sorry, I will share once again. That's strange. Anna, can you see my presentation?
We can see, unfortunately, we can only see the black screen. Can you go just one slide back?
Yeah. Just 1 second. Give me a second.
Not yet, but don't worry. I can assure you, participants, that this slide that we are waiting for is so much worth it, because we have some really good books by Oxford University Press here on the line. One of them is bringing more technology to a classroom, isn't it so, Camila?
Yeah. So
it's so worth the wait.
Can you see now?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. So, well, these are the 4 questions, but I wasn't able to mention some of the things. So Oxford Teachers Club, this is the website where you can find extra material. So I was presenting some of the features of CPT tool. So if you want to find some great ideas how you can exploit, course books and classroom presentation tools, you can go to Oxford Teachers Club and you can get free worksheets, materials, and lesson plans. Everything is free. So, what does CPT stand for? This is the first question. Which platform do we use to activate CPT? Where can teachers get free, ready-to-use activities, worksheets, and lesson plans? And where can you find information about professional development events for Kazakhstani teachers? So, if you could send your answers to the chat box very quickly, that would be great. So you can get your prize from OUP. So while
Thank you very much, Camila. Don't worry, we're going to...
Can I just very briefly go back to one slide and share one thing, just very quickly? So if you could make a screenshot of this. So we've got Interpress Teachers Club. This is for Kazakhstani teachers, and you can also find us on Facebook, on YouTube. So thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you, Anna. So I really hope that you found my presentation beneficial. Thank you.
One more time, I'd like to thank Camila and Oxford University Press, Interpress for helping us to spread the word out and reach out to you teachers. And special thanks for their generosity, because the prizes that they're suggesting are really cool. You can see the questions posed by Camila in the chat box. Take your time and answer those so we can award prizes. I would also like to remind you that the prizes awarded earlier by Study In have already been announced, so please reach out to Study In to get those. And next comes up a very brief presentation by my colleague Dinara Amanjalova, who is the representative from KazGU University, and she will be sharing some great news for English language teachers and English language learners. Dinara, please.
Okay, hello everyone. Can you hear me well? So my name is Dinara, as I was introduced. I would like just to take very briefly 3 minutes to introduce some products that our university has to offer you for your professional development and for your students as well. Just a second. Okay, so last year, Kazgu University has become Cambridge Assessment English Official Exam Preparation Center. So probably a lot of you have heard about this exam. That is a great alternative for the IELTS certificate. So if your students also want to get a confirmation of the English language proficiency on the international level, they can also take Cambridge exams. So we prepare students for B1 preliminary exam, first certificate in English, or certificate in advanced English. The advantage of this exam, of this certificate, is that it can also provide them with opportunity to enter university in a foreign institution abroad, participate in academic mobility programs, or also, for example, have some internship abroad. So this can be as a great chance. Also, Kazgu University is authorized British Council IELTS registration center. So if your students or you need help with the registration, we can also provide this help for free. In addition, we organize mock IELTS tests on the regular basis, which are also conducted in the real exam conditions. And we have IELTS preparation courses in intensive mode that also might be interesting for you. In addition, Kazgu is the tallest accredited registration and examination center. This exam can be particularly interesting for people who are interested in legal English. So again, TOLES is one of the leading exams in the legal English. So the university provides preparation courses, and you can also take this exam at our university and receive an international recognized certificate in this field. So it might be interested for lawyers, for example, or teachers who teach English for specific purposes in the field of law. And finally, for teachers, for example, on a yearly basis, maybe some of you have also participated already, we organize Winter School of Professional Development every year. This year we have prepared teachers for TKT, Teaching Knowledge Test, which is also Cambridge English certification for teachers. And also we share a lot of information on technology, on interesting methods that you can apply in your lessons. So if you have become interested in it, these are the contact details. You can subscribe to our Instagram page to be up to date. This is my email. So if you have some additional questions, you can also send an email. And I think that the organizers of this conference will also send you a list of all the links in order to get more detailed information. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope I was brief and informative. Thank you.
Indeed, so Dinara, thank you for being so informative and brief. I apologize for missing the part when we thank our speaker, Camilla, for all the cool tools she has demonstrated to us and for the generosity of Oxford University Press. So can we give first Camilla a short round of applause? The silent ones, the loud ones, it's the visual ones. Thank you, Camilla. And Dinara,
Anna, if you can see, I am sending my heart to you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If some of you can do so, that would be great. And Dinara, we thank you for this brief presentation on these wonderful opportunities presented to us by Kazgu University. It's a really nice option and very informative for those who are into legal English, because there are not so many test centers actually testing this skill. Thank you, Dinara. And I guess we don't have much time to spare, and we are ready to go to introduce our next speaker. So can I have some music on, please?
Yes. Let's see who's going to be next.
It's an honor to bring to you Natalia Ivanova, our guest from Novosibirsk. Natalia is a director of studies for language school InnoText. She's been a teacher with more than 20 years of experience and a teacher trainer, lots of teacher trainers today. She is a frequent speaker at Trendy English Talks Siberia. She organizes CPD conferences for teachers in Novosibirsk, and she specializes in teaching things. She's today to help us with the low prep activities for tired teachers, for tired super teachers who have joined our conference today. Natalia, thank you for being here today. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for your introduction and having me today. Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. Can you see it now, right now?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'm here today to share with you my ideas about low preparation activities, which can help us to minimize our lesson planning time. Yeah, but before I start, I would like to ask you a question. If you spend a lot of time to plan a lesson, if you do, please put a plus in the chat, and if you don't, just put a minus. Okay, while I'm waiting for your answers, I should say that I used to spend 90 minutes to get ready for a 45-minute lesson, and it's a lot of time actually, and from time to time I got really tired because all this lesson preparation took all my free time, and I was thinking about just changing my job, not to spend so much time on lesson preparation. And I can see lots of pluses in the chat. It means that some of you do spend lots of time on lesson planning as well. So then let's discuss the following. So what takes most of your time while getting ready for the lesson? Can you share your ideas as well? I actually have my own list of activities, yes, which are time consuming. And recently, I had a kind of survey on my VK page. And so I asked the teachers to help me and to choose the options which really takes a lot of time while they are getting ready for their lessons. And so the survey was in Russian, so you can see that on the first place, so the most time consuming part, option for the teachers to think of the revision activities. Then it's difficult for the teachers to think what vocabulary to teach to their students. Prepare different handouts and props. I can see you mentioned that in the text, in the chat box. And on the last place, on the third place, sometimes it's difficult to decide how to start the lesson. What warm-up activities to choose. Thank you very much for your ideas. Some of them coincide, what I've mentioned, and some are a little bit different, like creating the role play, for example. Okay, so we have this time consuming options, and let's think what we can do to minimize our lesson planning time and what and who can help us with it. As for me, thank you very much for your idea about co-planning. That's a good one. I can see 3 ways out. The first one, you may create your own library of your own ideas you use in your classes. You may have a list of, for example, different warm-up activities you use, and then you just look through the list and you choose the activities you need for this very class at this very moment. As for me, I collect my ideas on the Padlet. Padlet is a kind of interactive board, and there you can pin any types of files, video files, audio files, different links. You may type your comments for using them later. As an example, you can see my Padlets on for reading and listening lessons. I have 3 columns, and in each column I have different activities. And when I am going to have a reading lesson, I just pick up one activity from the pre-reading column, then one activity from the while reading column, and one from the last column. And so I need about 5 minutes to get ready for my reading lesson. But this type of collecting all your ideas in one place has a little disadvantage, because you really need a lot of time to systematize all these things here. And one more thing, you should either read a lot of books on methods of teaching to find these ideas, or visit different seminars and conferences to collect it. So it takes a lot of time, and it works, but so be aware of the time. The next way out, there are lots of teachers' resources sites, and I'm sure you have your favorite ones. You may share your favorite teachers' resources sites with our participants in the chat box if you wish. I have my favorite ones. They are full of ready-made worksheets. You just print them out and use them in the class if you have offline lessons, or just use them online. There are ready-made lesson plans, but also be careful with the 3 things when you use this very teachers' resources sites. The first one, before bringing anything into the class, look through the worksheets very carefully, because there could be different types of mistakes, grammar mistakes, or spelling mistakes. Then, as from my experience, not all lesson plans, ready-made lesson plans you bring into the class work in your context, because students are different, they are motivated in different ways, they have different interests. So also be careful while choosing this ready-made lesson plans. And one more thing, of course, sometimes it is very difficult to find what you need, exactly the same set of vocabulary you would like to teach, and so on. But this is a great source of different ideas you may bring and use into the classrooms. And the third way out, which can help you to minimize your lesson planning time, are your students. And what I mean is not asking them to help you to cut the handouts for the lesson, but little bit different things. Just use their ideas, use their energy in the class, and don't be afraid of it. I can't see any disadvantages here. And I highly recommend to think of your students and to involve them into the lesson planning process. What I mean. As you've noted, remember, I've showed you my survey, and on this third place of the most time-consuming activities were warm-up activities. So some teachers try to, it's difficult sometimes, to find how to start their lesson with. And the problem is that our students are tired with our "how are you" questions, "how was your day?" And we need to find something more interesting to get their attention from the first minutes of the lesson. And my favorite students' warm-up activities, they're absolutely low preparation wise, because you don't do anything. All the things are done by your students. The first activity is called 3 questions to ask. It is... it can be carried in 3 ways. The first, you just bring into the class a lot of different questions, absolutely about different topics. And the students, they choose any 3 questions they like from the list, and they would ask each other in the class, and then they share the most interesting ideas they've found out. Then, one more way to have these 3 questions to ask. Your students themselves think of any 3 questions they would like to ask their classmates at the moment. And they are absolutely different questions, and then they have time to ask and answer these questions and then share the ideas they have found out. And one more way to organize the same activity, to ask the students to write the questions they would be liked to be asked. So they write the questions they wanted somebody to ask them. And then we exchange the questions, and the other students ask you the questions you would like to answer right now at the moment. It helps a lot when you have so-called shy students, shy teenagers in your class. They've been somewhere, they watched an interesting movie, but they are not ready to share it at once in your class. And so if they write the questions and they then answer them, it's much easier for them. The next warm-up activity, which is absolutely up to the students here to decide what to talk about at the beginning of the lesson, is called our favorite topics. What we do at the beginning of the school year, I ask my students to tell me what are the most interesting topics for them, and they usually discuss these topics with their classmates or with their friends or with their family members. And we have a large list of different topics. And from time to time, we come back to this list, and the students choose the topic they would like to discuss for 5 minutes at the beginning of the lesson. And usually they enjoy it because they have this chance to talk, to communicate about the things which are important for them at this very moment. And the lesson goes on with the topic we have on the book. And the last warm-up activity which my students enjoy is called the photo of the day. So all the students have the smartphones with them, and there are lots of photos there inside. And I usually ask to share one photo with everybody. And then the tasks can be absolutely different, so that the students can think of different nominations, for example, the funniest photo, the most philosophical photo, and so on. And the thing is that this is not you, the teacher, who thinks of these nominations or whatever, but your students. So, and you just moderate them, you correct their language, you help with the vocabulary, and that's it. You don't need to spend half of an hour or an hour to prepare, to find the photos and so on. Also, on the second place of time-consuming activities, there was about what vocabulary to teach, how to choose it from the text. One day I just stopped choosing any vocabulary from the text to bring into the class, because I realized that the vocabulary, the expressions I choose are important for me, but not for my students. And sometimes this is not actual, and they would never use these phrases in their life. And that's why now when we are reading the texts, I ask them to fill in 2 columns. In the first column, they write about the vocabulary that they don't know. And in the other column, they just write out from the text the expressions they like. They could know them, that's okay, but they are their favorite ones, let's say so. Then we discuss the words which they don't know, and remember that there are always students who can help you to explain unknown words, because they already know some of them. And then I ask my students to move 3, 4, or 5, doesn't matter, you decide yourself, expressions from the I don't know column to the I like column. And now we have a list of words, a list of expressions they are going to activate, to use in their everyday life, and they're really important and meaningful for them, and usually they remember all this vocabulary. Okay. One more thing, which was mentioned, that sometimes it's difficult to prepare these activities for revision. What I do in my classes, I give as a homework for the students a task to create their own interactive activities for each other. And the 2 sites which are easy to use and my students like, one is WordWall.net. It helps you to create different vocabulary activities. So as a home task, they create activities for each other. They send the links to me. I just check if everything is correct. And then we exchange the links. And so they have lots of activities which can help them to revise different types of the vocabulary we've studied. And the second is My Simple Show. It's a site which helps you to create short video clips. I can show you 2 short video clips which were created by my students. The first task was to explain somehow the expression, we studied, so the other would guess what is meant. Let's watch it. It's very short.
Guess the word, make me. Seeing my friends. Traveling. Winning a competition. Giving presents to others. Make me happy.
Okay, so here the expression was make me happy. Yeah, of course we would press stop, pause, sorry, and then the students would guess, and then we'll see the answer. So my students, themselves do this very easily, and then they enjoy it. One more example I would like to share. We had the topic of this daily routine, and as a home task, they had to create a video clip where they mixed this daily routines. The order is wrong. And so one of my students created the task like that.
My day. I get up at 6 o'clock. I have dinner. I go to school. I have breakfast.
You see, everything is mixed, and we will discuss and restore the real order, of the events. And it helps to revise this vocabulary as well. Also, my students themselves, they create different taboo games. They choose the vocabulary they would like to revise. At the moment, they create the cards for the taboo game, and then we play it together. They create board games by writing different questions or expressions, and then we play them in the class. So I don't do anything myself. I stopped once, and now I see that my students like this cooperative work. And to sum it up, I would like to say that if you want to spend less time on lesson planning, do involve your students into this lesson planning process. Let them make their choice and cooperate with them. And as a result, you will have a very good side effect. And this is about motivation. Actually, student motivation goes up if they are involved, if they are given a choice, and if they cooperate with each other. But this is another story about different things. How can you motivate the students in your class? Thank you very much for your attention. If you like, you may join me on my VK page. There I share my ideas about teaching teenagers. I share different things like short lesson plans, different ideas, and so on. Okay, thank you very much. If we have any questions, I'm just ready to answer.
Okay, thank you, Natalia. Thank you for your presentation. Okay, let's give a round of applause to Natalia. Okay, thank you. Yeah, we've got a lot of Natasha positive comments. Clear, superb, wow, great. So if you have any questions, we can have like a minute or two to ask Natasha to answer these questions. Natasha is a very good expert in working with teenagers, and she knows everything about their motivation, and she knows how to make what makes them tick. And I'm sure that if you join her on VK Vkontakte, so you will pick up a lot of interesting ideas. So this is what I usually do. Natasha, your blog is one of my favorite actually, and I like picking up some ideas for my lessons from there. And today my personal takeaway is this: my simple show. Yes.
Yeah, my simple show. I will share the links in the chat so that the participants may check it out. Yeah, it's very user friendly, let's say, so that my students who are 12 or 13 years old, they just easily use it. So.
Okay, thank you. And there is a question: is there a YouTube channel you have?
No.
Not yet. Maybe this is what you need to think about. Okay, so thank you, Natalia. Natalia is now sharing the links. Okay, have a nice weekend and enjoy the rest of the conference if you're staying here with us. Okay, thank you. And now it's break time, about 5 minutes before the next presentation. And I want just to tell you a little bit more, a little trendy English games. Well, actually, it's not a presentation, it's just I'm going just to say a few words about my project, which I started a long time ago. And actually, this is how Trendy English Conference appeared. Many years ago, we started working on games, and we wanted to share this knowledge with other people. But there were no big conferences in Russia at that moment. Well, there was just one big conference, and we decided to start our own conference. And the first Trendy English Conference, there were like 36 participants. Okay, just a very big difference from what we've got now, like about 800 participants on our offline physical conferences. So, but the idea was to promote the idea of games and gamification among English teachers. And just a little bit more about what we do in Trendy English Games. So we create games, we make and we publish card games and board games to use with your English in your English classes. So as I mentioned in my talk, mostly these games are about practicing drilling some grammar tenses, and we organize a lot of free game practice activities for teachers in different cities all around Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan. And we've been to many other countries when it was still possible to go abroad. And also we organize a lot of free gaming events for English teachers and for teachers of other languages online. Okay, our website is trendyenglish.com or trendyenglish.ru. If you go to this website, you can find, you can learn everything about our games. And actually, this is time for the question from the sponsor. I want you to go to our website right now. The link to the website is now in the chat. You can see it. Elena has shared it with us. And the first person who will write the name for the game, the first person who will write the name of the game which is created to practice second conditional will get this game as a present. We will send this game to you. So second conditional, what is the name of the game? So go to our website and find this game on our website. So you should go to the shop or well, catalog. Do we have any answers? No, not yet. So what is the name of the game in which you can practice second conditional? Yeah, Daria Malavina is the first one. Daria, thank you. Daria, can you send your email in your private messages, please, so that I could contact you? But anyway, I'll write down your name. Okay. Sorry, Anastasia, you've been just a little bit late, and Daria was the first one. And apart from these card games, we to practice grammar, we also create games for Also, we make games to use in summer camps and and if you run some speaking clubs. So there is a special section here on our website, games for camp. So these are not just games in their primary meaning, but these are gamified lesson. Each game is for 4, 6, 7, or even 8 lessons. And this is a good substitute for worksheets when you work in your summer camp. Okay, so so what else we do as Trendy English? As Trendy English games, we also organize online meetings for English teachers, and we've been doing it already for more than a year. So every Friday at 5 o'clock in the morning, oh, sorry, not at 5 o'clock, at 8 o'clock in the morning Moscow time, we get together in Zoom, and we play different games. We play Trendy English games, and not only Trendy English games, but also any game, low preparation game, any other games which we can find somewhere in the internet. We test this game, we discuss it, and we see how it can be used in our lessons. And already for 2 years, we've been running Trendy English Games Academy. So it's an online course, and it can so it lasts for 4 months, and we discuss everything about the games during this course. The start of the next program will be at the end of September. So if you are interested, please don't hesitate to join us. And if you ask any questions, you can do it. And don't forget that we have prepared a present for you today. If you follow this link, if you scan this QR code or follow the link, which will be in the chat shortly, you can get a present from Trendy English Games. This is a collection of 5 top warming up activities which you can use in your lessons, as Natasha mentioned. So searching for warming up activities for lesson starters, that might be one of the most difficult part of our job. Okay, so that was some information about Trendy English Games, and now we are ready to listen to our next speaker. And our next speaker is Anna Gorizontova. Anna, are you here? I just can't see if Anna is here. So something's going on. Anna, while I'm checking where Anna is. So Anna, are you with us? No, probably not. Okay, so what if we watch a short a presentation of Znania platform once again, or while I'll try to find out what has happened to Anna. Ilian, do you have the video?
Let me see.
No, you don't. Thank you.
No, I'm afraid I don't.
So I don't know, maybe we will swap two speakers right now. Okay, Anna, are you ready to present your talk right now?
Yes, always
No,
ready.
swap a little bit. Okay, so my pleasure to introduce the person who made this event possible. All the initiative goes from Anna, and as Anna said, that they are a small school in a small city, well, but with very big ambitions. Okay, and you see, so this person could just make this beautiful event possible. She organized everything. Well, she found partners, she found speakers, and she just spent a lot of time preparing this event. So Anna Tonkich holds a master's degree in education from Cambridge University, UK, and she is a Delta certified teacher trainer. Today, Anna is an owner and director of studies in Lingvagrad Language Academy. So, Anna, the floor is yours. Let's give a round of applause to Anna.
All right, can you hear me all right? I just want to check the sound. Thank you. All right, great. Okay, so it's my time to shine as a speaker, and I'm here today to share some tips with you on computer literacy for teachers and how to stay on the top of your game. I'll kind of continue and build on the ideas presented to us earlier by the other speakers and tell you how these ideas are connected to teachers' computer literacy. Well, enough has been said about who I am and what my qualifications are, and I'll just dive into my talk right away. So I'm going to start with an observation of mine that I have been observing for the past year. Like whenever I ask my colleagues, teachers, how the lesson went, provided that it's been online, I observed that very often teachers tend to blame technology if something went wrong. If there was no proper connection, Zoom didn't work, students didn't turn on their cameras, and I figured that this is definitely worth noting and connecting. So instead of explaining my colleagues what they should have done, I very often ask them this question. And now I need your help. Can you reconstruct the word soup provided to you, the anagram, and tell me what is the word that goes to the gap? Oh, some people have already said it. Meaningful. So what I do, I ask my colleagues, but do you use the technology in a meaningful way? Because once you start using it in a meaningful way, it seems that most problems connected to technology just fade away. So, and I'd like to share this video with you. As you watch this short piece, please bear in mind the question, is this the right use of technology? Very simple question. Is this the right use of technology? Please send your reactions, if any, to this short clip. And I already have got some response. People keep saying, gosh, no, that's not the right use of technology and the device provided. Thank you for sending the smiley faces or turning your cameras on. I see Muzaffar is laughing out loud. And that shows me how supportive you are of what I have to share here. So yeah, that quite often technology is blamed, but at the same time, technology is not harnessed enough to be used in a meaningful way. So what I mean by using it meaningfully, learning and using technology meaningfully, it means all the things presented to you on the slide. It means that using it in a way that supports and enables growth, not kind of extends the problems and gives you the floor to complain, but it's in a way that supports your learning and your teaching. It's a kind of use, a kind of learning that changes your life and changes it positively, not in a way that you cannot bear being a teacher anymore and you gradually burn out. But it's in a way that can make difference to who you are, to how you teach, make difference to your skills, your motor skills, cognitive skills, and many other skills. And I've noticed that teachers, not every teacher seems to making this difference in a positive way. And the core issue is that teachers in Central Asia sometimes lack computer literacy skills to fully embrace the positive change that technology brings to our lives. So what I mean by computer literacy is the following. It's a very composite term, which actually means the level of educatedness and skillfulness in your ability to read, write, and use the technology. And in the last 20 years or so, computer literacy and ICT, information and communication technologies, have influenced the way we view literacy. And it's not only your ability to read and write anymore, it's your ability to do these things, these basic things educated people do, but with the help with the use of technology. My observation is that the 21st century teacher needs to embrace this change, embrace this knowledge on technology, and learn how to manage ICT resources well. To manage these resources well and in a way that promotes learning, in a way that it makes your life easier and not difficult, there are three constraints to managing computer literacy. These are, and I'm going to present them in a reverse order: pedagogical skill, administrative and organizational skills, and technology and social media skills. Well, very often, we learn that this first bit, technology and social media skills, are the ones overlooked by teachers. And for years, it's gone unnoticed because teachers didn't have to spend so much time online as they have to do today. And all they needed to do is shine in class, demonstrate, show us their pedagogical skills, manage and admin things. And the fact that they lack computer literacy went unnoticed because nobody except them and the management could see that. But in today's world, in the flipped world where we all have to go online and learn how to manage a remote classroom, the priorities change. And now the fact that teachers lack computer literacy stands out and affects pedagogical and administration skills in a way that promotes burnout, that makes teacher bashing go even further, and in a way that makes everybody frustrated. So that's this statistics and this information I want to give in support of my observation that teachers often blame technology. And I want to show you one more video of a teacher managing a situation in class. So as you watch, again, keep sending your reactions or use the chat to answer the question: have you had such situations in class? Sorry, can you hear the sound?
No sound from the video. Can you share this?
No sound from the video. Let me just quickly fix that. Okay. Little time to
can Robert, you please just hear now?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. So the question stays the same. Have you had such situations in class?
Screen. We have very limited time here, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chris Bean. Welcome to the.
Oh my, how unexpected. Hello, I'm Robert Grove, and I am thrilled to be presenting.
I am Chris Bean, the director of the Cornley Polytechnic Amateur Dramatic Society, and we are thrilled to be here performing live on the massive get-together.
Hello? Hello?
Switch your video on, Dennis.
Hello?
We shall be performing an extract from a new work entitled An Interesting Visitor. Excuse me one moment. Sandra, you're late.
Oh, I'm late. Oh, sorry, Chris. I'm just still on LA time.
When were you in LA?
My agent. Sorry, I've got to take this. Hello. Hi.
We have a very popular team here at Cornley. Now let's begin. Whatever you do, don't open that door. On the other side is...
Chris, I think we should switch parts.
Robert will...
All right, so back to my question. Have you had such situations in class when you've been constantly interrupted, students just come late and affect the way you teach, everything goes not according to a plan, people make noises they're not supposed to be making, and I see, thank you very much for doing this, for supporting me in the chat. The answer is yes, happened a lot, happens sometimes. So here's a question to, again, to all of you. Is it, in this particular situation, and this one demonstrated to you today, could the teacher have done anything to prevent this? Could there have been a very easy, very simple solution to all those things? My answer would be yes. My take as an observer of this class is that this teacher actually didn't do a good job on managing the classroom and managing the level of noise. It's no different from teaching in a real classroom when some people come in late and blah blah blah, but somehow this teacher lost control of everything, and he could have just fixed all of it by muting all the participants. This way nobody would come up on screen and interrupt the video of the user, of the speaker, and the speaker being a teacher. And this teacher just completely failed. Could have simply used a very simple command. Could be done both ways. You could just click mute all button for to manage the classroom, or you could use a very shortcut on your computer screen to prevent such things from happening. Please raise your hand if you know what keyboard shortcuts are and have you ever used them. And if you say no, I bet you're gonna be lying, because most people know what Control-C, Control-V means. It's copy-paste, and if these shortcuts, yeah, thank you, Medina, exist in computing world, then there are many more shortcuts that it could be very of help to a teacher, especially to a teacher who has to multitask in the online environment. So I would like to share some useful Zoom shortcuts with you, which I often share and train my learners to use in order to make my online classes more efficient. One of them is raising and lowering the hand. If you're a PC, personal computer, any Windows user, you just simply go Alt-Y, and if it's if you're owner of a Mac, you go Option-Y. I have to point out that it only works in when there is no demonstration going on. So just to keep this in mind, try to memorize this shortcut and try to use the shortcut now by raising your hand. Going Option-Y like this. And I'm sure very often you guys wanted to raise your hand today, but if you are away from your keyboard or are not really able to multitask, you didn't really use this, you didn't really raise the hand because you had to use a mouse. And with a keyboard, it's much faster, much more efficient. Thank you very much. Is my screen back on? Can you see it? Can you raise the hand if you can see it? Because now you can erase it really fast. Thank you very much. There you go. That's a very simple tool teachers could learn to use and teach their learners to use. And that would definitely prevent many of the irrelevant questions from happening. Another question I have to all of you is, do you regularly transfer handwritten information to a digital text? You know, I come from a family of teachers, and my mother-in-law, my mom, my aunts, they are way older than I, and very often one thing which I observe them doing is going like this. They often sit with their, for example, their phone, looking at it and then typing something in a documentation, or they sit with a book. They sit with a book and type out information, or they print out certain things and then type them in, and that takes lots of time, loads of time, I would say. And very often when I observe them doing that, I'm telling them, you're doing it wrong. You're spending so much time on prepping for class and prepping these materials that you shouldn't be spending. Technology is there to help you and not to waste your time. As was earlier pointed out by Natalia, who taught us about how to make low prep activities for your classroom, there should be also low tech activities for your everyday situations. And this solution to this handwritten to digital mode is very easy. Very first thing is split view. Split view, you can see it in this top right corner of your screen, is when you just divide the screen into 2 bits and you quickly transfer information from one piece to another. And in order to do that, it's only a click of a couple of buttons as opposed to going from one device to another device or from one window to another window. Another solution is text to speech. All modern mobile phone devices have this feature. You could just read off even a chapter from the book really fast, out loud, and record it. It will go into text automatically. Or you could just harness some reformatting tools. By reformatting, I mean, I'm sure sometimes your students send you visuals which are very low quality and you can't really see what's happening there. So you could just easily change the format of a JPEG file to TXT file. And I learned that there are not many teachers who can do that. So my goal here is to raise awareness of the need to upgrade our computer literacy. And I suggest we look at several more concerns and complaints I often see. My colleagues complain, and these are just quotes. Some of the quotes I collected in the past year. Some of them are not from EL teachers, but from CLIL teachers, and many others. And please raise your hand if you can relate to any of these. If you heard them, maybe it's not something that you experienced, but you heard other people complaining. Is it? Oh yeah, and people raising their hands. Thank you. And my idea is that all of these things can be fixed easily with technology, proper use of technology. One thing, students are not turning their cameras on. Come on. All you need to do is learn a training. Train them into how to use the camera, when to use it. Maybe the reason they're not using it is just something about personal appearance, about the background. Teach them how to change the background. Play with them again, Елена Пересада suggested earlier, by turning on...
Так можно идти, совсем неприлично.
Куда?
Could you...
Почему неприлично?
Ну, кофта большая сидит.
Okay. I asked everybody to mute, yeah, and I used a very simple shortcut for that. And be a role model. If you're not modeling how to use a camera, students are not going to use it. So easy to do, and then you turn these black screens into something like that. Maybe it's not a real picture of a student because students possibly afraid of showing off the face, all freckled or something, but it's better than no picture at all. It can be easily trained. Or if your students send you, if you spend hours and hours taking report videos and then sending them and changing the formats and stuff. Just all you need to learn is learn how to do screencasting, and these horrible photos of this kind will turn in something really decent, something that you could use in your reporting and even post online for your blogs or reporting on your work. Another common thing, my mother-in-law always struggles. Her students send her really poor quality work, and she ruins her eyes trying to trying to make sense of what's there. So I always tell her that all she needs to do is just train them into voice to text, or train them to use scanning apps, or train them into sending only typed material. And then information which sent to you in this form easily turns out to something like this. By the way, it's just an email a student sent to me while using a text-to-speech method. So lots can be done by just becoming more literate. And I understand that in order to become more literate, you need just to measure how literate you are at the moment. And to measure that, we've prepared a short checklist to help you do that. So if you take out your phones, your cameras, scan the QR code, I'll give you just a second because we are running out of time. You should be able to go to a page which looks, and I'll just share the screen with you. This is something that you can do later after my speech. You will be sent to a document sent, and I can see that many people were able to, but it looks like this. It's just a very simple tick tool. Please tick what things you can do and which things you cannot do. If you can tick all of this, that's great. That means you're very literate and this year has taught you a lot. And if you have not all things ticked, then it should be like a warning sign to you that tells you that it's time you upgrade your skills, your computer literacy skills, and summer is exactly the time for doing so. So that's all the ideas I wanted to share with you. And I also have a couple of prizes for those who have been really attentive listeners. I have 2 questions to ask, and those who answer them correctly will also get either will get a choice of presents. They can win a Teach IELTS and IELTS Prep notebook from our sponsor LinguaGrad, or will get a 20% discount on the Tech Savvy course. Tech Savvy teaching course is the one that promotes computer literacy for English language teaching professionals. So are you ready for my quick test? Then 2 questions and some presents. Please raise your hand if you can, if you are. Right, great. And I see that some of you are ready, and there you go. Here comes the first question. What's the keyboard shortcut to raise your hand? And let me make it sure. You shouldn't raise your hand now. You need to type in the shortcut combination to the chat. My assistant Yelena will be monitoring the answers. And the second very quick question is to attentive listeners. What's the name of the course which can help you boost your teaching tech skills? I've announced this course. If you missed my announcement, you can find it on the on this list, which you have right here. It's also, the name of the course is also mentioned there. And that's, I guess, everything I have to share with you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay,
any questions?
Let's give a round of applause to Anna.
Oh, I have to share. Anna, can I please stop the screen share so I can do that? Thank you very much for your presentation.
Okay, and if there are any questions to Anna, you can ask them now before we proceed to the next speaker.
Yes, I'm open for questions, so if you have any, I will be really happy.
Okay, now everybody knows how to use these shortcuts.
Wonderful, now we have lots of people using the shortcuts. Very soon we're very soon we're gonna have a takeaways slide. It's like what are the things you took away from today's conference, and maybe something you picked up on during my presentation would be on that list. I would be really happy to do that. Thank you for this opportunity to share my observations on computer literacy, and I'll pass on the word to our next speaker.
Okay, and it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Anna Gorizontova. Anna is with us. Hello. So Anna has more than 25 years of experience working for international publishers and exam boards, including Pearson Education and Cambridge Assessment. And currently she is Business Development Manager in PeopleCert International, a UK company which develops and distributes language cert exams in English as a foreign language. And Anna is going to tell us all the new stuff about testing today. Okay, let's greet Anna with our smiles and applause. Okay, Anna, now the floor is yours. You can share your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Just a second. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good, great. Dear colleagues, I think I won't be spending your time on, or wasting your time rather, on explaining the current situation we all are facing with online teaching, with, everything being unusual and somehow going in a very different way since the beginning of the last year. I would like to talk about assessment, as Yelena said. And my first question to you, please give your answers in the chat, is what do you find more difficult, you personally, teaching online or testing online? Because I would like to, while you are sending your answers, I would like to confess actually that for me personally, testing in my professional life has been much more difficult, mostly testing, teaching, testing, teaching. So we have different views here, but I think the majority avoiding cheating, yes, absolutely. So when I first had to run an exam for my students, because I also teach at the university, a year ago, it was a real disaster, I would say. And this year I went better probably, but far not ideal. And I would like to today to look at what professional exam boards are doing, what is happening in international examinations in this case. And here is probably my second question before I go to this topic. How many of you send your students and prepare your students for international exams? Could you maybe raise your hands here? Right, so quite a lot. Then you should definitely have noticed that this year, 2020, and I believe in Kazakhstan 2021 has also been very difficult in this respect. And so therefore the online exams, running testing online, definitely is the only possible solution for the majority of international exam boards. What are their advantages? Well, they're absolutely obvious. I probably won't say anything new in this case. So they can be run in the times when real exam centers are closed. Since no sending of papers, printed, materials from, say, the UK to Almaty or Shymkent or Pavlodar or whatever other city in Kazakhstan are involved, then definitely it saves a lot of time. And so the registration is very short. In most cases, it is just a couple of days and sometimes even shorter than that. Another thing is that results are coming very fast. Again, because we are not physically sending paper tasks from point A to point B. So definitely this is easier. However, and finally, I missed this point, but definitely candidates can take online exams outside of the closed exam centers, for example, from home. How this is possible, I will tell you a little bit later. Well, and I think that the key problem of online exams has been already mentioned by one of our today's participants. Of course, this is cheating. And well, if we put it in kind of official language, this is called how to ensure exams integrity and security. But basically, it all goes down to all kinds of cheating. And the universal solution to that is so-called proctoring. Maybe some of you are aware of this, know what this means, but just in case, I will explain that the proctor is basically somebody who supervises the exam, who has the chance to look at the candidates, at the students, and see what they are doing at this particular time. Sometimes proctoring is done in a different way, so you do not directly see what is happening with the candidates, you just record. So all the participants, all the students, candidates, they record their own exams and send to the proctor. And proctor then looks through all these video recordings and, for example, says that student A and student C were really, looking into something, not to the screen directly, but somewhere else, that in some cases there were two people on the screen, not just one candidate, and therefore so these people will be somehow punished. But the more, I would say, secure way to do that is to do it in a live mode, when a proctor sees all the candidates while they are taking the test. And in my picture, you can see such a situation. So there are quite a number of faces on screen. And so proctor, the lady, I think, is doing her best to make sure that they are behaving themselves properly. However, and you can do proctoring anywhere in Zoom, for example, just when you tell all your students to switch all their cameras and try to make sure that they are looking, directly into the screen, not turning their heads, not looking, somewhere aside, not tilting their heads, and so on. These can help. But even with more professional proctoring, students find their ways. And when preparing for this presentation, I came across the reference to some TikTok videos where students teach each other how to cheat the proctor, how to cheat on online exams. And there are very sophisticated, I would say, things here with lots of gadgets involved, for instance. So for highly secure exams, like international exams, which should be protected, otherwise you are not able to award a certificate to a candidate. This is definitely not an option. Something needs to be done so that such inventive ways of cheating are eliminated as well. What are these ways? And I will refer to the experience of the company I work for, which is called LanguageCert. But first, let me just say who is using proctoring in online exams and who is running online tests and exams among the big players in the assessment market. So first of all, Cambridge has some online tests. They are not certified, so you can't get a certificate for that, only a statement of the result. And for example, they have a very good test called LinguaSkill, just LinguaSkill General and LinguaSkill Business. Then IELTS, in some countries, they are already using or and probably will be expanding this practice. They are making IELTS online as well. And quite recently, TOEFL developer, ETS, has launched also online exams. I'm not sure which countries they are available, but in our part of the world, I know the cases when people already take online TOEFL. As to IELTS, IELTS is now piloted in online mode in Europe mostly, I believe, in Western Europe. Right. And finally, this is LanguageCert. We probably started earlier than anybody because our online exams, they exist for about 3 years already for English. But for other things like professional exams in business and IT technologies, they are much older than that. So how proctoring works in professional exams. So this is the screen which the proctor sees before him or her in LanguageCert exams, and this is the written part of the exam. So first of all, the important thing is that proctors, the exams for different students start not at the same time. Definitely the individual exams, it's not a group you have to test. So proctors switch each next candidate with an interval of 10 minutes. And during this 10 minutes, what they managed to do, they managed to, well, connect to the candidate, of course. And then the proctor asks the candidate to show his whole or her whole room with his or her camera. And the proctor makes sure that there is nobody else in the room apart from the candidate, that the door is closed, and that there are no, for example, see-through like glass doors or walls in the room, that there is absolutely nothing on your desk where a computer is, that your telephone is switched on because in case you are disconnected, you will have to call the exam, then the support. It is far away, so it is in your hand's reach, but actually you can't use it, you can't have it without drawing suspicion, without erasing the suspicion from the proctor's side and so So in this case, and plus our system, it also signals to Proctor, like in the first case, in the right-hand side of the slide, the in the corner, you see the yellow head, which is tilted. And so this is a signal to the Proctor that, well, look, something potentially suspicious is happening there. You need to pay attention. And when quality is low, for example, like in the two bottom line cases, so the Proctor probably will ask the candidates to reconnect. And in screen 3, everything is fine. So the exam is proctored, the quality is high. And also another aspect of proctoring, which cannot be achieved by many systems yet, is that candidates can be looking into their screen, but they might be changing screens. They might go from, for example, ExamSoft, from the exam screen to something else, to another window with whatever that is, for example, that could be, I don't know, Google Translate. Right, and what is done in this case? So our soft allows you to block all other windows on your screen apart from the exam task. What about spoken exams? So in spoken exams, language cert proctor at the same time is your interlocutor. So the examiner who only asks question, definitely the questions are scripted, so nothing is invented. And the proctor also does all the same things. So for example, chooses, well, greets the candidate, checks the security and the integrity of the exam and so on. Now, what does the candidate need to take such an exam? Well, not very much. It is a quiet room, reliable internet connection, computer or laptop with camera, microphone and headset, that's all. In terms of flexibility, because, well, flexible is one of the words in the title of my talk. In terms of flexibility, it's only flexible time-wise because you can actually choose your time from, as you can see on this slide, from many options. Any white box is an available time slot of the start of your exam. When it is red, then somebody has chosen it, and it can be done even on the exam day itself. And finally, results. So results come in 3 working days in e-format. This is the statement of the result, and this is the certificate. And then when the results, in electronic format, are issued, then the hard copies, the originals, are sent by post. So this is pretty much what I wanted to tell you today. Just a few bits of information. First of all, if you're interested in learning who we are and what we do, here is our website. Then we offer to every teacher who is interested in our exams, because we are a new kid on the block and we are not that well known as, say, IELTS or Cambridge exams, to try free of charge an online exam. If you're interested in that, please do write to me. And finally, in Kazakhstan, because as far as I understand, most of the participants today are from Kazakhstan, we do have some centers and providers of online exams. So here is the list, and again, if you don't have time to memorize them, you can always go to the website, or you can, for example, write to me using my email. So this is everything that I wanted to tell you about online solutions used by international examinations. If you have any questions, so please write them, send them to me, or I don't know, write to me an email. Thank you so much for your attention, and well, all good luck in your online teaching and online testing.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Sorry for this interruption. Interruption at the end, but I hope that was just a mistake made by some of the participants. Okay, let's give a round of applause to Anna for her presentation, for her talk. Okay, now we know everything about assessment, tests, and all this stuff, which might be very useful for our students. Okay, thank you, Anna, once again. And we hope to see you in our upcoming conferences. So
we'll be happy. Thank you.
If you have any questions to Anna, you can write your question in the chat right now. And okay, it looks like there are no questions right now. Okay, thank you, Anna, once again, and have a good day today. And we are moving to the end of our official part. And before we do it, I just want to share one more prize from Trendy English. This is an access to all talks, to all videos from Trendy English 9 conference, which was in 2020. And to get this prize, so what you need to do, you need to go now to our website. It says trendyenglish.ru, and write in the chat, when did the first Trendy English conference take place? Write down the year of the first conference. The first person to write this year will win a prize. So the website is, Elena, will you share the website with us? Trendyenglish.ru. Okay, and if you go to this website, and the first, yes, Nikki Irini Mastaraki. So this is the first person to come up with the correct answer. So the first conference was held on the 1st of June 2013. So Nikki Irini, can you send your contact details in private messages, please, so that we could find you and give you the prize. Okay, thank you. And I just want to mention that we have 2 YouTube channels, Trendy English, where you can find a lot of free videos about teaching English and about running English schools. So some videos are really good, and we ran quite a lot of conferences during pandemic times. Last spring we organized about 30 conferences on different topics, how to work online, and most of them were free of charge. So all the videos are available on our YouTube channel, Trendy English. And we have another YouTube channel, Trendy English Games. Here you can find a collection of videos about games, how to turn exercises into games, how to play different games, how to play speaking low prep games. So this is Trendy English Games YouTube channel. So feel free just to use all these resources. And okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you for this kind words in the chat. Okay, and now we are ready to wind up our official part, and we want you to share your takeaways with us. Anna is going to share her screen now, and this is well, it's an application and a web also a web service which helps people to share their ideas and to write something, well, to work collaboratively. So if you so in you can see you can see a QR code on the screen, and in the chat, you can see a hashtag. So if you go right now to slido.com, or if you scan the QR code, and then if you find our event, the number of the event is on the screen and in the chat. And if you write some of your today's best takeaways, so what are you going to take from with you from today's conference? They say, so if you don't write down anything at the end of the workshop or training sessions, then you will forget everything. So this is a good opportunity just to make sure that all these amazing tools which you've been listening to and all the ideas which other teachers have been sharing with us, that you will really use them in the future. So go to slido.com or scan the QR code and please write some of your takeaways. And when you start writing them, you will see them on the screen, which is just a great opportunity to see what other people think about today's conference. And please don't forget that after this official part, we are going to have another hour of some kind of informal networking and gaming. Okay, and right now, please, your takeaways. Okay, we will give, so Anna's tips on shortcuts, low preparation activities. So we've got two first takeaways from somebody. We can see some more answers. Solutions to some issues like how to avoid burning out, how to deal with online lesson problems, Znania platform, yeah, which is just something really, the platform which can save your life and save your time. Sorry. Okay, different games for students. A bunch of new resources. And which exactly? What is like corpus? Corpus-based activities. How to avoid burnout. Yeah, this is something which is really important for us as English teachers to take care of. How to prepare activities for tired students. Every student is also tired by the end of the academic year. Okay, thank you. So it is really interesting, yeah, and just to read all these takeaways. Okay, and at the and right now, I just want to thank everybody who was here with us today and who helped to organize today's events. First of all, I want you all to, okay, so some graphics. First of all, I want everyone to give a round of applause to our beautiful speakers, okay, who prepared these wonderful presentations and who shared their ideas with us. Let's give a round of applause. Let's turn on our videos and give a round of applause to our speakers. Okay, thank you. Now, I'd like to give my special thanks to Yelena, who helped us today with all the links and with moderating of today's conference. Let's give a round of applause to Yelena.
Thank you very much.
Mhm. Okay, and of course, my big thanks to Anna, who did all this great job organizing today's event and making it beautiful. Okay, and I would like all of us to give applause to all of us, to all the participants. So the conference could happen because you came here and you spent your weekend, half of your weekend, maybe half of your Saturday here with us. Okay, thank you. And thank you that you care about your CPD, and I do envy your students. I know that you are the best teachers ever. Okay, a round of applause to you. Okay, and now we are ready for our ELT cafe. I think we will have like 2 or 3 minute break to make it cafe, to make our cafe look really like a cafe. You can go to your kitchen and grab a cup of tea or coffee or water, as Catherine said. And in about 3 minutes, we'll get back to our work, and you will have an opportunity to play some games and to talk to your colleagues. Okay. So 3 minutes break.